Let's go. Come on, let's go. Okay, I know so many of us have taken today to be a negative. So many people think just one day of negative recruiting is the sign of the end of Ed Orgeron. Really? Is this what we're going to do today? What? Really? Welcome to the live chat. As we welcome in Devin, Jawan, James, Mike, Kane, the whole crew's here, okay? Like I always say, I need one of you guys to tweet this bad boy on out, share it on Facebook, share it with whoever you may want to. So, you know what's interesting? I was thinking earlier today, what should I lead today's live stream with? And earlier this week, I announced that we were going to do a live stream on Saturday, right? And we'll talk about YouTube ads in a moment, Tony. And here's the thing. I totally forgot about the Army All-American game. Or there wasn't even a game. The 2-hour recruiting spectacle. Now, I'm not sour because LSU didn't land any of the three guys that they were supposed to potentially get. I'm not mad about Tristan Leigh. I'm not mad about Korey Foreman. I'm not mad about Jardin Gilbert. The one thing that bothers me, though, is that we care so much. And there's nothing wrong about caring about LSU football. The problem is that we care so much about what kids decide to do with their lives. And I was going through the Army All-American game, and of course we wake up with this news from Eric Gilbert, which to me, the timing of it seemed so weird. Why would Eric Gilbert announce on the day that all these kids have the limelight? It just seemed off. Which goes to show you that you should never invest too much time and energy into one player. Ask yourself this question. How many times did you think about Tristan Leigh over the past few months? How many times have you seen me talking about Tristan Leigh? A lot. Over an offensive tackle? Really? Who apparently signed with Clemson during the early period. I have yet to be able to confirm this, but Shea Dixon has reported this. Shea's the best recruiting writer that's probably writing right now. If Shea's going to report it, it's probably going to be pretty accurate. And I saw other people talking about this. Apparently, Tristan Leigh signed with Clemson during the early period. Or did he sign? I don't know. That's the problem with recruiting. We invest so much energy into one player. We do. And you've heard me time in and time out defend Eric Gilbert, right? But what we have come to learn, as James points out, that a lot of these recruits want attention, right? Eric Gilbert announcing his transfer portal decision at whose convenience other than his own. Legit, you announced the day of the Army All-American game when the spotlight should be on those other kids who have been, and you steal their headlines? You know, we spend too much time. And honestly, I would love Eric Gilbert to come back. He is a transcendent talent, and he would be a great player for LSU. He already broke the record for most receptions by a true freshman tight end in a single season, and he did so in 8 games. But the bottom line is that one guy doesn't determine your team. LSU's best win of the season came the week after Eric Gilbert decided to opt out and 2 weeks after Terrace Marshall decided to opt out. The most important thing for your team, guys who want to be there. That's the most important thing. And I know we just say that all the time, but these are specific examples of that. So, I'm very interested to figure out what exactly happened with Tristan Leigh. Very interested. Now, I want to talk about Jardin Gilbert just for a second. LSU was never getting this guy. And I said from the get-go, what's up, Max? LSU's problem is that they are not the innovators. Okay, I actually agree with just that sentence, but we continue. LSU sees what Alabama was doing with Tua, and then they decide to get an offense. Now it's the O-line. Time to be ahead of the curve, or we'll continue to watch Alabama win natties. Max, you're right. And I'm not just saying that because you gave me a $20 donation just then. You're just right. LSU is behind the curve. And I don't want to just focus on Alabama, okay? Because, look, Alabama's going to be Alabama, all right? Bottom line, Alabama's going to be Alabama. They've been doing this. They've been getting 5 stars. They've been getting these guys. And, Elias, I'm going to get to your question in just a moment. But this was going to be my second part of this opening monologue. Have you noticed something in the SEC West? Have you noticed something? Because I know as LSU fans, we're Go Tigers. We believe in Ed Orgeron. But this is the big problem with the West. Every other team this year in the division got better, except for us and Auburn. That's it. The other 5 teams in the division got better. They did. We didn't. We did not get better. We did the opposite. We got worse. And Auburn got worse, but they're starting over brand new. We got worse. Ole Miss proved that they could win at a defensive-esque type of game today. They had a pretty good year. And you should be a little worried about what Lane Kiffin's doing. But your biggest concern should be Texas A&M. Okay? And as Eric says, Buck Bama all day long. But here's the thing. Bama's going to be Bama. What you should be concerned about is what Texas A&M is building. And I know they're getting ready to play, but no matter what happens in this game that's about to be played, Texas A&M finished with a recruiting class as good as ours. And it didn't look like that. Just a few weeks ago, Texas A&M was 11th. We were 3rd. Today, we are 5th, and they are 7th. Okay? And what are the weaknesses of LSU's team right now? Well, what you guys always say to me is that the game is decided in the trenches, right? That's what you guys say. I agree with you. The game is decided in the trenches. Guess where Texas A&M is out recruiting us right now? In the trenches. 5 of their 6 top players that they have committed are offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Their offensive line kicked butt this year. And they whipped our butts too. Bottom line, A&M is catching up to us. Whether or not you like Jimbo Fisher, this is going to be his 3rd consecutive recruiting class that is 7th or better. They're catching up. And no matter whether you like it or not, they went into Baton Rouge and got a kid today. In fact, they've had him. And if LSU was on top of Jardin Gilbert from the start, they would have gotten him. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, the safety class is pretty good. And you're right. If there was a position you could lose, it would be safety, especially with this class. But still, what Texas A&M has been building, look, they were just outside the playoff this year. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Now let's go to Elias's question. But Max is totally right about the innovators. Whether or not you think Jimbo Fisher's worth the $75 million guaranteed, they brought him there to get them to the playoff, and they were knocking on heaven's door, baby. They were one spot away. If Notre Dame had lost another game this year, if North Carolina, ironically, would have held on against Notre Dame, they would have been there. So let's go to Elias. Tony, thank you for your super chat. We'll get to it in a moment. Elias, which player coming back has the greatest impact? Good question, Elias. Obviously, the most important player coming back next year is Elias Ricks, simply because he was LSU's best player. And he was LSU's best player by a pretty wide margin this year. And I think most of you would agree with that. It was Terrace Marshall. He opted out. Offensively, Terrace was our best player. If Miles would have stayed healthy, he might have been our best player. But the best player on LSU's team by a wide, considerable margin, to me, was Elias Ricks. So I know, Elias, that is your namesake, but that leads us to our next topic. Okay, we'll get to Boog in a second. She just went upstairs. And I know, Tony, you want to see Boog, and I know Eric wants to see Boog. It's a little too early for Boog, right? If you're new to the live chat, Boog the dog, my girlfriend's dog. She always makes her appearance. Tony, if you don't mind, Booger just went out. I just took her out for a walk. She's resting right now. But thank you for the super chat. For those that don't know, Boog has a huge medical appointment coming up on the 6th. And her medicine is just getting more expensive with the time passing by. Also, I disagree, man. I really do disagree. And I know it sucks to hear it, but it's not just that we lost to Texas A&M this year. It had nothing to do with Jimbo Fisher and everything to do with their guys in the trenches kicking our guys' butts. Normally, when we beat Texas A&M, it's the exact opposite. Normally, we're the ones whipping Texas A&M in the trenches. So we'll see. That loss really concerned me. And if you have the Texas A&M game in the background, their 5-star defensive lineman, Leal, he tore us up. Those are the kind of guys that they've been getting low-key for the last couple of years. So to continue Elias's point, Elias Ricks is our number one player. He is the most important player coming back. The second most important player, I would say, would be Kayshon Boutte. And then the third most important player, which could be a sensitive subject for a lot of you, is B.J. Ojulari. Now, there's been rumors that B.J. Ojulari is going to go to another school. Something pretty big happened today. His brother announced that he's going into the NFL draft. So the need to go play with his brother is not there anymore. He might still want to go to Georgia. He might still want to move closer to home. But the rumors about B.J. Ojulari going somewhere else have just been rumors. That's it. So we'll see. What's up, SPH? Let's see. We get this stat right, we'll be bullying A&M again. And that's a big if. It's a huge if. What's up? What's up? What's up, James in Little Rock? Max, Simeon, Bruce, welcome. Carson. So, welcome. So, guys, as we always do on a non-Saturday game day, I open up the live chat to you. Hey, he's over here dancing. What are you dancing? I got her some new shoes today. Oh, she's got her earphones in and she's just dancing. We need to start dominating A&M again. I hope, Daniel. I hope. And we have been. The Kevin Sumlin years, they never beat us. Mr. Big Boy from Austin, Texas, welcome. Devin, welcome. She bumping that Boosie. She is a Boosie fan. So I want to go into the next topic. I do think for me. You want some more Star Stop? Are you going all the way out there? Yeah, get the 6 of the purple. You want the purple? Yeah, the purple. 6 of the purple. When you come back, we need to put Bug. We already got a super chat for Bug, but you can do it when you come back. Well, I gotta go to the liquor store first. Yeah, I know. Is that all you're going? Yeah. Okay. But I'm gonna go to the drive-thru so I don't have to get out. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. What's up for Fort Hood? What's up, man? That's cool, Tony. You want the purple Star Stop? Yeah, the purple. In the purple cans. Don't get the red. Yeah, go ahead. You don't like the red? I just like the purple. Unless if they have the 12 packs, get the 12 packs. Of the Star? Of the Star stock. Well, tomorrow's our last day. I know. Well, just get the purple. I think I got a few left in there. You do. You got 3 left. Okay, we're just going to get a 6 of the purple. Okay. What's up, DC? What's up, Victor? Yeah, we're going to the liquor store, baby. It's Saturday night. Saturday night is a... Yeah, Bruce, but those guys are like the hottest names that are out there right now. Why is Fort Hood pretty hood right now? Why? I'm curious. I do, movie. I really do. Sark's going to be hiring some assistants, and Saban's going to be hiring some assistants. And, where would you rather go? Would you rather be the offensive coordinator at Alabama, or would you rather be the offensive coordinator at LSU? I'm going to let you answer that question for yourself. And, I hate it when people come on the channel and say, you're anti-L. There was one guy who was commenting on my video just because I said that LSU is amongst the best jobs in the country. Okay, I said Alabama is as good of a job as LSU, and Clemson is as good of a job at LSU, and people freaked out. And I'm like, really? Ask every neutral person that has no ties to LSU, which is a better job, Alabama, Clemson, or LSU. LSU's not first or second there. Exactly, John. That's my point. It doesn't make any sense. So, you're kind of behind the 8 ball when it comes to being the offensive coordinator. Ken says, can we get rid of James Craig and get Kevin Mawai to coach the offensive line? Let's see. Jared says we could have beaten Texas A&M. No. And you're right. We should have. When you hold a team to 3.8 yards per play, you should win. This has become a very anti-James Craig channel. This has become a James Craig slander channel. And I don't know if I really like that or not, because, here's my problem with it, okay? If you're a 5-star offensive lineman, think about all the brand names that are out there right now for LSU, okay? And what I mean by brand names, what are things that we're known for at LSU, okay? We're known for great defensive backs, okay? We're known for great everything on defense. Even though we are technically an offensive school, there's only been 1 year at LSU during the championship era where we were known as a championship offense, where our offense was better than our defense. That was 1 year. So our brand is still defense. Our offensive brand is brand new. But one thing we could say about LSU is that Well, we put out a lot of NFL running backs, so we're still going to get running backs. And we put out a lot of NFL wide receivers. But offensive line isn't quite the same brand. Now, let's be honest. We do have Lyle Collins, Trey Turner, Will Clapp, Garrett Brumfield, Kevin Mulline's in the Hall of Fame. Alan Faneca will probably get there. So we've got a list of great offensive linemen that are still in the NFL, that have played in the NFL, but that's not our brand, okay? That's not been our brand. It's not. So, that's an uphill battle. All right, let's go to John's super chat. A few questions here. Eric Gilbert, a prima donna and locker room disruptor. Prima donna is a harsh word, but I will say there is some ego issues there. There's some look at me issues there. There are some. As many of you know, I have been the hugest Eric Gilbert defender. The hugest. I would love for him to come back. Love. But this is getting ridiculous. And, if he wants to go elsewhere and that makes him happy, go for it. But as I pointed out in the video earlier today, and if you haven't seen it yet, you can click it. It's down there. The depth chart at tight end at Georgia and Alabama is kind of full right now. They have great NFL tight ends there right now. So it's kind of tough. And ego issues, really? I'm not trashing them. I've done the exact opposite. But tell me this huge recruiting day where it was these kids' day to announce where they're going to go, you announce that you're entering the transfer portal randomly, just happens to be on the same day, you're kind of stealing the spotlight from those kids. It is what it is, okay? And on top of that, there is some ego involved in this. All star receivers and tight ends have ego. Okay? They do. We all have ego issues that we have to deal with. I'm telling you that there's never been, I cannot say this enough, there's never been a true freshman tight end that started from day one and was a feature of an offense from day one and got that many snaps and targets in their first year as an SEC tight end. And Simeon, that's fine. You can be critical of Ed Orgeron. But there comes a point where my Eric Gilbert defending becomes unfair to you and the team. Because I'll tell you this, Jamal Pettigrew waited his turn to become the starter, a kid from Louisiana, just to get beaten out by a true freshman. Day one, he won that job basically day one, the day he walked on the field. I'm telling you, it has never happened. It is rare to get that many snaps and targets in 8 games. 8 games. Yeah, exactly. Kane, I promise you, I understood how tough mentally this year was on every player that's out there in the middle of a pandemic and kids aren't on campus. You're not living the college life. And I know it's tough. Trust me, if I was a freshman, my stupid tail would have been out at the bars in the middle of a pandemic, I'm sorry to say, because I was that dumb back then. But the point remains the same. And this is my main point about Eric Gilbert. You could not have asked for a better opportunity to play as much from day one. And as Cliff points out, personal issues, I think Cliff is saying that in a kind way. most recruits, it's actually good for them to get a hard reset, to go through some adversity for themselves personally. How many recruits have we benefited from? So it is what it is. Well, Ken, that's new to this. That's not new to the sport. Simeon said, let's just let him go. Let him be alone. Yeah, but he's an LSU football player. You know, he let his team down. He left the team with 2 games left. I could understand Terrace Marshall doing it for draft stock, but Eric Gilbert still has 2 more years left to go. So it is what it is. Exactly, Bruce. If he came back with the same cohesion, and he played with all 3 of the quarterbacks, and in Eric Gilbert's defense, he was open a lot versus Texas A&M, and TJ was just bad. He was just so bad in that game, and he actually missed Eric Gilbert for a touchdown in the red zone. You know, if Eric Gilbert were to come back and was put in the same role he was in last year, he would be an all-SEC, all-American type of player with either quarterback because he got open. And his blocking started to get better. He actually had a really good blocking grade for me in the Alabama game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would love for him to come back, but no one player builds your program. No one player. Even some of the greatest LSU players to ever wear the purple and gold. To me, the 2 best players that had the best career from when they stepped on the field as a starter to when they left, where their play, where we got 2 to 3 years of an elite player, my 2 top players that just stick out to me, Patrick Peterson, Devin White. They gave us all-American level play for 2 seasons. In both years after they left, LSU still went to a national championship game. As they played their position better than anybody in college football played their position. And both of them could make a claim that they were the best SEC corner and the best SEC linebacker of the past 2 decades. They're at least in that discussion. They're in that GOAT SEC discussion with the Patrick Willises and the Minkah Fitzpatricks or whoever you want to mention at any school. LSU still went to national championships a year after they left. So one player doesn't determine your success. So we'll see. And Simeon, you're spreading a lot of truth, man. Let him go. Yeah, Devin White was as good as it gets. As good as it gets. You can't play the linebacker position better than he did. In fact, there's never been anyone at LSU that played the position better than he did. Yeah, I mean, Devin White was just a freak of nature. To be that fast. Oh, Devin White was not better than C.J. Mosley. Get that Bama stuff out there. At least say Rolando McClain. Man, I loved Rolando McClain. That was probably my favorite Bama linebacker. Rolando was a monster. Ken, that's a good question. So obviously Cole Taylor's the first name, but Nick Storrs actually played a lot. I don't know how much of a receiver he is, but he was a good locker room guy and he played his role well. Cole does need to bulk up. His blocking was very inconsistent. The Florida game, his blocking was really bad in some points. In some points, it was really good. But This is why true freshman tight ends don't play a lot of snaps, because they can't block. Eric Gilbert was very hit or miss as a blocker. Cole Taylor the same way. It's really hard to block. And you want to know why it's really hard to block as a tight end? Because when you're in high school, you don't block. You're playing receiver the entire time. But then when you get to college, you got to learn how to block. It's hard to block. It's hard. I agree with you, Bayou Bengal. They've got to start doing better, which is why you should be really concerned, not so much about Alabama, because Alabama's going to get their 5-star offensive lineman every year. But Texas A&M, their offensive and defensive line recruiting has been phenomenal. And that was never a strength of those Kevin Sumlin teams. Johnny Manziel did not have great offensive linemen. Texas A&M, they had Myles Garrett, and they had a few other decent defensive linemen, Dalen Mack, whoever, but they're getting better. Let's see. Reuben Foster was a beast, yeah. So this is my first time doing this. There's 168 of you watching, but there's only 38 thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up right now. That's if you like this content. You may not like it. You might be hate watching it. If so, if you're hate watching, give me a thumbs down. I wouldn't view Sark as a threat right now. Let's see. Any new defensive coordinator opinions? Okay. So this is what I always ask you to do. Let's use actual samples, because in college football, we don't get many sample sizes, right? We don't get many opportunities to actually evaluate people, right? So through this bowl season, and bowls are weird, players opt out, but we've learned two major things from two different coordinators, okay? There's two coordinators whose names are popping up the most for the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator role. Oh, Brady James was a beast too. Got to put Brady James up there. Brady James was definitely faster than Devin White. Brady James, man, he was a gazelle. But before we talk about anything else, I want your honest opinion on this, guys. Okay, so focus on this. And I know a lot of you are getting your Cole Taylor takes in. But I want you to give me your honest opinion on this. Two different coordinators that LSU is looking at right now. Marcus Freeman is one of them. How did you guys think Marcus Freeman did in the bowl game versus Georgia? How do you think he did? Yeah, Ken, unfortunately, yeah, that's part of it. That's why I would not trust Steve Sarkisian and Baton Rouge for sure. Texas is a little bit more of a button-up area. I know Austin's a crazy city, but still. I don't know, Bayou. That's a great question. So, as you guys point out, Marcus Freeman was phenomenal against a really good Georgia team that had a super hot quarterback, that had a 6'7" tight end, that had a really good offense with better recruits on their side. I agree, Anonymous. So I know this is random because the game was a few days ago. Cincinnati should have gone for it on 4th and 2 to win the game. Georgia has a good field goal kicker, and they only needed, 30 or so yards to get there. And even then, Marcus Freeman called up some nasty blitzes there at the end to force a 58-yarder, and the kid made it. Kicked the best kick of his life. What Fickell should have done before Kirby Smart, okay, this makes me feel better about Ed Orgeron because Kirby Smart made the worst. It's amazing how bad these SEC coaches are at timeout management. Jimbo's bad at it. Dan Mullen's bad at it. Ed Orgeron is awful at it too. But Kirby Smart made the worst timeout second half error I've ever seen in that game. So Cincinnati was gift-wrapped an opportunity to really bleed some clock and win the game, and Luke Fickell didn't take it. On 3rd and 2, that phenomenal play by the Georgia defender, he should have ran the football on 3rd and 2, kept the clock running if he got it or if he didn't, and then go for it on 4th down and win the game on 4th and 1. That way, if you don't get it, you at the very least took 40 seconds off the clock for them. So instead of them getting the ball back with like a minute 30, even if they would have stopped you, they would have been on fringe field goal range with only 50 seconds left. So if you stop them there, there's no way that they could have bled all the clock out. If they would have made a field goal, you would have gotten the opportunity to get the ball back. And obviously that's tough for Luke to make all those decisions. But if I could do it, he could do it too. If I could do it from here, Kirby Smart should be able to do it too. But as Terrell points out, what's up, Carvis? About time. We were all waiting for Carvis. It's not a live stream, and I love all 191 of you guys, but Carvis and I mean, we're bros. We're like bros. We're like bros. We're like frat bros with the croquis and the vineyard vines and the Sperry shoes. We're bros. What's up, Carvis? But as Terrell points out, the Marcus Freeman thing is kind of a pipe dream. I'm not going to lie. I've heard Jim Leonard's name started to gain some steam. Someone I trust that's connected has said Jim Leonard is someone to keep an eye out for. And I'm here to tell you this. Jim Leonard would not be a great hire. It would not make a lot of sense. So, we'll see. Hugh Freeze is a quitter? Wait, oilfield trash. I don't like saying oilfield trash, and I don't like saying your name because I do have a lot of friends that work in the oil field, and I know it's you. I know it's like a term, but you know it's kind of hard because I don't work in an oil field. I feel like to call someone oil field trash, you also have to work in the oil field. So OT12, we're gonna go with that. Oh, Devin White ran a faster 40 than Brady James. Look at that. Dang, he blew him out. Leandria shutting me. I just remember Brady. I guess it was just young nostalgia. I remember Brady James chased down a first-team Texas wide receiver who was drafted. I think it was Roy Wood or someone like that. I remember the game. Brady James, I think it was against Texas, made some incredible hustle play. I guess I was wrong. And Devin White is that big of a freak of nature. I'm glad I was wrong because I'm like a big Devin White fan. Devin, I mean, it's crazy. I would have liked to have seen, and I know it's not worth him getting injured. I would have liked to have seen Devin White carry the football a few times. Like, I'm curious because I like Nicholas Brissett a lot because he waited his turn, played for the hometown school. Texas really wanted Nicholas Brissett, and he probably would have been a better player there because he would have started there. But you know what's weird? I wonder if Devin White, if he would have played running back, if he could have gotten 1,000 yards. No, I'm glad you checked me on that. I thought I remember Brady James being a speed demon. But I guess I'm wrong. So I'm not a Jim Leonhard fan, and the reason why is it is so much easier to be a defensive coordinator when your offense plays at a slow pace. So, amongst teams this year that only played 8 games, Jim Leonhard's defense played the fewest amount of plays. So, all those great LSU defenses in the past, they were great, but they were also aided by playing at a slower pace, which is why I use yards per play a lot. So, I'm not to go from being the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin to playing at a faster pace. It obviously depends who you get as an offensive coordinator. So we'll see. Just heard Barry Odom is considering taking that job from Arkansas. Yeah, I think it interests him. Anytime you can go from Arkansas to LSU, it's a step up. But I also know, and as many of you know, I'm really well connected in Arkansas. I've lived in Arkansas. Most of my friends live in Fayetteville. Barry Odom likes NWA. He likes Northwest Arkansas. But I'm not a big fan of the Jim Leonhard thing. I'm not. I'm just not. I would rather hand a blank check to a Marcus Freeman. The problem is, I think so many of you are so connected to the idea that LSU for sure needs to run a 4-3. So we'll see. Terry W. coming in and trolling. Y'all don't pay attention to Terry W. He comes in and says LSU is irrelevant. Okay. LSU is so irrelevant that Terry W. on a Saturday night had to come in and say that LSU is irrelevant. Also, LSU is so irrelevant that 182 people are watching this hideous human being talk about LSU football. That's how irrelevant LSU is. You're right, Trey. Fayetteville is so incredible. But that's the thing when people, and then there, and Romeo, I know you saw this on Twitter. Oh, sweet. Ed Ingram just announced that he's coming back. Welcome, Blake. Thanks for that good news. So, Eric, so that's some good news. Ed Ingram's back. So, LSU has gotten an announcement that their interior 3 starters on the offensive line, Jason Hines is coming back. Liam Shanahan's coming back. Ed Ingram probably had the best draft stock. So, Ed Ingram. That's because you're not irrelevant, but that's because wait, Terry, you're not making sense. That's because you're not irrelevant, but your program who can't win a national championship outside of your own state, Louisiana, is irrelevant. Huh? Terry, if you're going to come and troll this channel, be rational, be coherent. SPH is not a Bama. Well, he's a Bama fan, but he's not an LSU hater. Let's see. We need a quitter. Terry's coming in this thing. Wait, what is the thing? The famous 4th of July video. Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Terry, put it on reverse. That's the thing about some Bama trolls. Some Bama trolls try to come on my channel. Okay. And I don't mind Bama fans. SPH is one of my favorite viewers and commenters, and he's an Alabama fan. I've been to Tuscaloosa a lot, and I love their campus. And I think the statues outside the stadium are really cool. I really do. Okay. But what a lot of Bama fans do, and it drives me nuts. Bama fans, despite being so great, suck at trash talk. They suck because they'll say something that doesn't make sense. And then when you challenge them on it, they'll say, roll tide. Yeah, the drinks are back. Y'all might get to see Bug in a second. Ooh, we jigging? Let's go. The drinks are here. The drinks are here. 2 or 3 not good as 1. What's up? Let's see.
We gotta get Booger.
Is there? Do you think they're ready for Booger? I think they're ready for Booger. Jonathan hasn't commented yet, and finally, Boog. We were talking about this on New Year's Eve. We're like, everyone doesn't care about me. They're here to see Boog.
These noise cancellation headphones are the best thing I've ever had.
Ooh.
Because I can't hear a thing you say.
Everybody's ready for Boog.
She'll be fine.
Ed Ingram's coming back. Let's go.
I'm going to get her.
Kane, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Hey, you still got cheesy carrots in here?
Ooh, KB made some fire gumbo. I go from Kane's comment to talking about my mother. Yeah, my mom can make a mean gumbo. That's a New Roads, Louisiana gumbo. The Fobb family recipe gumbo.
Are you telling the people what I'm listening to? Huh?
Yeah, I told them. We have it confirmed here that no one here wants to super chat until they see Bug. So
Well, you tell them.
they're ready. They've been waiting 45 minutes to see the booger.
Okay, baby, I'll go get her. Guess what? There's 2 people in this relationship, you and me. I do things on my own time, like you tell me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hush your mouth.
That's because LSU fans are broke. They got no money. Terry, man. Terry, I've been giving you Terry, I've been giving you the opportunity to improve your trash talk. Okay. There's so many better things you can do, Terry, right now. You can get ready to get your Devonta Smith Heisman speech recorded. You can go ahead and set your DVR because he's going to win the Heisman. And I hope he wins the Heisman. I would like to see a wide receiver win the Heisman. Nile? We'll go from Harry to Nile? All right. Do you think I should block Terry? Who thinks I should block Terry? Jonathan? Hugh Freeze? No Kenny Chesney. I'm not. You'd have to drop a $200 super chat to hear me talk about Kenny Chesney. Rah, I appreciate you. I said $200, not $10. I'm not hijacking this fun LSU live stream to talk about a mediocre country artist, okay? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I've honestly never blocked anyone that wasn't just an outright troll. All right, here we go. Come on, baby girl. Come on. Here she is. Everyone say hi. Terry for butter. Everyone say hi to Bug. All right, Jonathan. Show me the money.
Don't scream too loud. I know.
And this is for Terry. Ironically, Trey's daughter, who watches in the background. Everybody wants to see Bug. Rye, what would you like to talk about? Aaron Gilbert for Heisman at Bama. He might win it. But Billingsley, the tight end at Alabama, is a beast. There you go, Trey. Trey's the one that super chats Bug Bunny.
That is so crazy. Here, hold her while I take these out.
All right. Well, Bug, you're here for a little bit.
Can you not hold her,
Yeah. They want to talk about Kenny Chesney on here.
Absolutely not.
We're not. You want to talk about? We could talk about George Jones. We could talk about like some actual legends. That's like super chatting and then saying, "Hey, let's talk about ASAP Rocky." Okay, if you're gonna super chat, let's actually talk about a legend. Jonathan, okay, there you go. We don't need 4 safeties in one class anyway. Jardin will be another Kelvin Joseph. That's actually a fair comment. You know, I don't think that that's a stretch, because if you think Derek Davis is going to play a lot, you know, Mo Hampton's coming back. I think Mo's going to be better. Derek Davis is a guy I think could play in year 1. You got Jordan Tolles coming back, and then obviously the big kahuna, Sage Ryan. And I would welcome Todd Harris back. Todd Harris was consistent.
Oh, I like Cliff.
Let's talk about how underrated Ludacris is.
Luda
is so underrated. Trey matches that super chat. It says, if we talk about Kenny Chesney, he's unsubscribing. This is a Kenny Chesney free channel.
Can we talk about Harry Styles?
I think Eric Gilbert goes to Tennessee, which makes sense because Harrison Bailey's there.
Oh, it's hot down here, baby. God almighty.
Okay, Rai had a question, and he did drop a $10 super chat. Let me get to your comment, Rai. I would like to ask you, do you think we improve the running game next season? I'm a huge Emory fan. Okay, Rai, that's a good question. ASAP Rocky's okay. I honestly can't name one of his songs, but my thing is, if
Tell
you
him what I called him today.
my girl, we were talking about ASAP Rocky earlier.
I said Rihanna's dating ASAP Rocky.
And she said ASAP Rocky. But no, my point is, Kane, is if you're going to interrupt a sports live stream, at least name a country artist or a rap artist or any artist that's good. Like, I'll talk about Beyonce. I'll talk about actual great artists. Alabama Shakes.
Like my favorite? Sorry, I didn't mean to say
She said,
I did.
She said ASAP Rocky.
I did. On God, I did.
Coming to the stage, ASAP Rocky. All right, everyone say bye to Bug. She's getting tired.
No, she's not. She's fine. Let him look at her a little longer. It's only your arm.
The super chat started coming in when Bug came in. So if you want Bug to hang around for one more segment, drop another super chat. Rai says, sorry about the English. I'm a little drunk.
No worries.
What are you drinking, Rai? Are you drinking rye whiskey? I can't say anything about ASAP Rocky because I said what? I said
Bug is a G. Obvi. Duh.
Eric's a Bug champion.
We know that, Iraq.
Terry the troll actually steps up with something funny. Jonathan wants me to block Terry so much because Terry's a Bama troll. Terry said something truthful though. Rye, instead of drinking rye whiskey, he's drinking rum. That would have been so on brand, Rye. Tony's
trying to get clout, Terry.
Tony, there's a thing called a phone charger. Okay?
Oh, she loves you.
There you go. All right, Bug. They're going to go up and... Everyone say bye to Bug. We might bring her back.
Look at that shot, though. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Terry won't survive this trip.
Somebody screenshot this.
A screenshot? No, I could do that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wait, Booger, look at Daddy. Look at Daddy. Look.
We got it. Look at that.
Who always wants
Terry for punter. Nightbug.
No. Who always likes Boog for their kid?
It was the guy that Trey.
Trey's
the Booger fan. Simeon's on that Crown and Coke.
How old's his little girl?
And a famous LSU player told me this about drinking whiskey versus vodka. Dead serious. And one day I'll reveal the player who told me this.
What?
Okay.
Why Boog looks that? Oh, sweetie, Boog always looks like
that.
Boog
looks like that in every photo. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see she's actually just looking kind of chill now. She's tired. So a famous LSU player once told me this. When it comes to whiskey colors or when it comes to alcohol colors, he said, the white is all right, but the brown don't go down. I'll never forget that phrase. And he was a great LSU player. And one day I'll reveal who told me that.
Will you though?
Boog is a Pekingese Shih Tzu.
A Pekingese.
A Pekingese.
And she'll be 14 this year.
Eric Bieniemy next LSU coach. That would never make sense. Terry is now turning on our resident Bama fan. All right. Terry, you can't turn on the one guy that's in your corner. All right.
Can you pin comments?
Kane, you'll never guess who told me that. I don't know if I can reveal that because this dude was
signed an NDA.
He hadn't signed an NDA, but I've always wanted to reach out to get him on as a guest. I've not talked to him since we were next door neighbors at LSU. It wasn't T-Bob, no. It was a defensive player. I'll put it at that.
Sad because I'm giving her rubbing, so she closes her eyes.
Tom Herman for OC. Let me answer Rai's question about the LSU running game. So Rai is a big John Emery fan. You must be from Destrehan. So who here believes John Emery should be the lead back for next season? Okay? Or do you believe Craig Stelz?
Now I know where she's going to want to go, babe.
TJ's transferring? Tommy Casanova. That would be something. I will say this. This player was probably one of the coolest dudes I met in college. He was very interesting. So Emery and TDP, but who do you think is the best running back for LSU next year? See, a lot of people agree with Jared. A lot of people think John Emery is the third best back. Carson, it wasn't Will Blackwell, but Will was a good friend of mine and still a friend of mine to this day. But Rai, why are you a big John Emery fan? That's interesting. I don't know, Devin, about Trey Bradford. We'll see. I know Eric's a big Corey Kiner guy. Lee, you've brought up Corey Kiner before, I think, too. Some of you like Armani Goodwin. So it's interesting because none of those guys are guys that Kev Falk recruited. Mr. Big Boy for Life makes a good point. I thought Emery would have been better. Kane, it was not Kelvin Shepard. Kelvin's actually pretty cool. Armani Goodwin is a smaller Tank Bigsby. That would be really, really, really cool. Carson, what kind of comment is that? What? I told you this live stream tonight was going to get weird. Yeah, Patrick Peterson. No, it wasn't Patrick Peterson. It was not Sam Montgomery either. I didn't know Sam all that well in college. There wasn't a lot of players I knew really well. One player, and he wasn't the one that told me this, probably the coolest LSU player from like just a chill personal level was Ron Brooks. I don't know how many of you remember Ron Brooks. Ron Brooks was a really, really chill dude. Not a team first guy through and through. But let's answer Rai's question. Not Pep Livingston. Pep was cool too. I knew Pep. Let's see. This Joe Burrow card I wanted. I want this Joe Burrow card. Let's see. There will be another. Ron Brooks was a monster. I don't know if I ever revealed that, Carson, because it's he wasn't a talkative guy. Yeah, Romeo, those were pretty cool. I wish they were rookies. Kev Falk has been a great recruiter thus far. I know, Tony, 2.6K subscribers. Well, Elias, send it to me. You can email me, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. No, Eric Reed was no. It wasn't Big Fave either. If one of y'all guess it, I will tell you. Brad Wing didn't play defense. Steve Ensminger wasn't a player. And if he was, he played offense. Skylar Green was a monster. Kevin Mawai would want the job. I know that, Nick, because he's wanted it before. But we'll see. I mean, James Craig, for the most part, has been a net positive. Look at that. The Kev Falk magazine in the background. Jonathan, I appreciate you. And Paul Manieri's in front of him tonight. We got Odell up here. Or whoever you want that to be. I actually bought a bunch of Daniil Hunter rookie cards, and I'm going to give one of them to you. I was going to announce that tonight. I bought a bunch of Daniil Hunter rookies today because this is a Daniil Hunter fan channel. Tyson Campbell. Brandon was a friend of mine in college too, but it wasn't Brandon. It wasn't Jack Hunt. It was not Jack Hunt. So many of you want to know this. No, Tony, this person is off the map. I knew Therold in college too. I had a few classes with him. It wasn't Therold. It wasn't DJ Welter. Was after my time. Yeah, I think Daniil Hunter is the body of a god. Human beings should not look like him. Human beings should not be that ripped and fast. Ingram is coming back, Lewis. That's true. Will Campbell, and who's the other one? Is it that kid from U High? Why would Therold not go to class, Mr. Big Boy for Life? Most LSU players do go to class, believe it or not. Jonathan Zenon, well, he was there my freshman year. Okay, let's throw this up. That's going to be the question. Okay, I'm not going to reveal tonight who told me that famous quote. I will not. One day I'm going to reach out to him and get him on the live stream, and he'll tell you. I know, Kane. It's huge, Larry. Well, it depends. if you get the Ed Ingram that played versus South Carolina, that guy could win you a national championship. So we'll see. And here's something else. Getting Ed Ingram back is probably just as big of a deal as getting Tristan Leigh, to be honest, for next season. Not for the long term, obviously, but we'll see. Tyler Shelvin is gone. Carson says it sounds like something a white guy would say. It was not Eric Reed. Let's see. He got drafted by the Patriots. Yeah, Elias. So I was at LSU from 2007 to 2013. I dropped out, moved to Washington, D.C., worked at SiriusXM, came back, finished. You know what, DBU7, that's actually pretty accurate. It's not totally accurate, but there's a lot of truth into that. Clyde was really good at manipulating a hole. And what I meant by that is he could make holes out of nothing. And he made a lot of people miss. So, Elias, we were there at the same time. Cool. I lived in Hodges Hall. Not Hodges Hall. I lived in McVoy. And then I moved to WCA. Then I lived off campus the rest of the time. SPH, they all play defense. I'm kidding. They're all from Louisiana. Okay, let's focus on Austin's question here. Is that our Manchester United symbol? Austin, what is that? Oh, Elias, that doesn't count. LSUA, that doesn't count. Did you go party at Target? Is that what you did? I'm kidding. That does count. I've been drinking these seltzers, and I normally don't like these, but this is the only brand. Oh, you lived at Highland? Oh, Highland, man. Highland got wild. Brightside was wilder than Highland, but Highland was more dangerous. That's crazy, Austin. So, Austin, you will not believe me, and I'm only bringing this up because you haven't met. I've met Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex is a really cool dude.
Come here. Let me get you a treat.
Hodges Hall is crazy. Saints D-line coach for DC, Ryan Nielsen. So I reached out to someone in the industry, and they told me that he wants to stay in the NFL. Oh, well, that's a good reason, Elias. That's a good reason.
Look at that.
Just getting a treat. McVoy was not the honors dorm, Trey. We were the non-honors kids. What's funny is, like, I know 4 or 5 people that lived in my dorm that are making 6-figure salaries. Hokey, welcome. Matt Patricia for DC, that would be a negative, Ghost Rider. Yeah, I don't understand this need to get someone from the NFL. I just don't know. Barry Odom would be a good fit, but Barry Odom likes a 3-man front. So to each their own. I'll tell you this though, Barry Odom took over a defense that was recruited for a 4-man front. And in year 1 made them better as a 3-man front.
You want me to get you a blanket?
Elias, that's actually a good story. I have so much purple and gold in my blood that my dad told me one time I was conceived on the night of the earthquake game when he was drunk. How about that? Okay, Rai, since you super chatted, I'll throw this out there. You can only pick one. Who is your favorite LSU wide receiver? Okay. Going ahead, Rai. Let me know. Jack Hunt. Who is your favorite wide receiver? Yeah, Trey, for sure. LSU's got national championship talent, and they'll have a lot of returning starters. Tykees Crawford, I'm hearing he's an Alabama lean. No, I meant Arkansas lean. That's where he was going to go before the grades. Let's see. Michael Clayton's a good choice. Jarvis is an excellent choice. OBJ, Jarvis. That's interesting, Ken. Are you still going to say OBJ even though he's hurt the program after? Even though I think he's still helped out? You know what, Robert? That's actually my favorite wide receiver is Terrence Tolliver. I'm serious. I love Terrence Tolliver. I think Terrence Tolliver is the most underrated LSU wide receiver.
We're throwing 2020 away.
They're throwing our Dwayne Bowe is really good. And I've shared this before about Terrence Tolliver. He got the a really, really raw deal. So Terrence Tolliver in 2007 would have been eligible to come back and not use one of his years of eligibility. But he was a backup and a special teamer on the 2007 championship team. Then from 2008, 2009, and 2010, his quarterbacks were Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson. Never got consistent, decent quarterback play with a coach who legit ruined a lot of good wide receivers. So that's why I'm a huge Terrence Tolliver. I'm a huge Terrence Tolliver fan because this guy won us a lot of games with bad quarterback play. So, his development was stunted because he could never play in an NFL offense. Marshall quit on us, so no, he didn't. Here's my biggest problem with the word quitting, okay? Quitting isn't a black or white term. It's a gray term. Quitting is on a scale because when you quit, oftentimes quitting is a good thing. A lot of us quit jobs, okay? It all depends on circumstance. And for Terrace Marshall, who killed it when he actually played this year as the number one option, he was fine. Kadron Boone, I like that. Todd Kinchin, I like it. Josh Reed, Ruben Randall. Ruben Randall was also underrated. I would agree with that. I think Ruben Randall also is underrated in that he stayed in the league way longer than he should have because he was just a really talented dude. I also have a crazy Ruben Randall recruiting story I will share one day on this channel. All QBs fear Stingley, except for Tua and Mac Jones. Just saying. Justin Jefferson was just so good. He really was. Early Doucette. Okay? Here's a funny thing about early Doucette. His most important catch was the 4th down catch against Alabama that tied the game in 2007. That's obviously one of the most important catches in LSU history. But his game-winning catch against Arizona State should not have counted. He dropped the ball, and lucky enough there wasn't review. But yeah, early Doucette was a beast. What's interesting was he was a 5-star. Like, he was a top 10 national player. He stayed in the NFL for a little bit. Was he a top 10 national production? I would say so. He wasn't all-time great, but he was pretty good. Sammy Martin. How about that? That's a little bit before my time. Quick question. Is Derek Stingley better than Patrick Peterson? No. Heavens no. They're not close in my mind. Stingley's single season was as good of a season as a lot of seasons, honestly. But, let's be real. This year wasn't that great. And, the injuries were a big part of it. Don't get it twisted, but still. DJ Chark. DJ Chark's pretty good. And I'm a DJ Chark card collector. He's one of my main people I'm collecting. I'm a huge DJ Chark fan. I don't know if he should be mentioned amongst the GOATs. I don't think he's Jarvis Landry good. I don't think he's Jefferson, Chase, Marshall good. So, it is what it is. Yeah, Demetrius Bird, that does suck. Ra-Ra's on that sauce tonight. I know, you know who I miss at CB? Tre'Davious White. Well, Tre'Davious is what, top 5 corner in the NFL? Probably top 2 or 3 this year. Elias, represent Alexandria. I like that. Why do you say that, Carvis? Let's see. Traven Durant was okay. Shaq White. Let's see. Trying to make sure I don't miss any super chats here. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got here. Carson, that's just too galaxy brain on a random Saturday night. Lil Dior, you can only be one or the other. You can't be a Clemson and LSU fan. Can't be both. You got to be one or the other. My thing is, you can't like 2 elite teams. If you were a Clemson and, let's say, an Iowa fan, that's fine. But, it's too much front loading. Unless you have kids that go to a school or play for a school or whatever. But you do you, Lil Dior. You can actually do whatever you want. I'm just messing with you. Malachi Dupree should have came back for another year. That's on him. He got bad advice. If you can't make it with Aaron Rodgers, where are you going to make it? How many times has Aaron Rodgers made bad receivers look like amazing? And now he's got Devontae Adams, and that makes him galaxy brain good. We'll see, Cliff. I actually do agree. I do think he'll come back and be the best corner. And, they have potential. If Stingley and Ricks really put their mind to it, and, I don't think anyone should question Elias Ricks coming back next year and being a beast, they could be the best corner duo ever at LSU. I mean, they have that potential. And there's one time where LSU had Patrick Peterson and freaking Morris Claiborne as their cornerback duo. Thanks for tweeting me, Romeo. I appreciate that. Lil Dior, opinion on Max Johnson. Okay. Part of me likes talking about Max Johnson and part of me doesn't, because so much of this offseason discussion is going to be who's going to be our quarterback. So I kind of want to clear that hurdle when it comes. I'm not sure about that oil field. I'm not. So here's what I'll say. Here's the complicated thing about Max Johnson is that the Florida game was actually really, really good. Obviously, a true freshman on the road playing with 50 scholarship players, an offensive line that was decent in the game, not great, no real running game. To come out with a win in your first start like that is pretty daggum good. The Ole Miss game was a win, but that had more to do with Kayshawn than it did Max. Max missed a lot of throws in that game. It was raining. One thing about Max that was very impressive is that the weather drastically changed in both of his games. So it showed that he had adaptability in both cases. And he didn't have Terrace Marshall or Max or Eric Gilbert in those games either. So Max was clearly the better quarterback than TJ. I would agree. But TJ started more games, and Max played against a very unfocused and overrated Florida defense and the worst defense in the SEC in Ole Miss. With that said, I would give him a slight edge over TJ, but I had a whole film study planned for LSU and Ole Miss, and I didn't post it because there was so much news. Bo Pelini was fired on that Monday, so I decided not to post it. But I'll tell you this. There was 3 missed touchdowns from Max Johnson in the red zone versus Ole Miss that doesn't include his interception. That was from my charting. So, if you're playing at worse defense, his quarterback play probably wouldn't have been good enough to win that game. But because Ole Miss was Ole Miss, we'll see. And also, Kayshawn was the reason why we won that game. And it's rare you see that. It's rare you see a wide receiver win a game on his own. Well, Kayshawn did that because he was that good. And once again, Ole Miss's defense is god-awful. They didn't adjust for whatever reason. I agree, Oilfield to OT12. I agree to a certain degree. I think the sample's a little small. I think his Arkansas drive was one of the better drives from a quarterback this season. It was raining. He had a game-winning touchdown unjustly taken away from him. So, it's just one of those things. Yeah, Howard's 110% committed because of his dad. So Walker's all in, and Jack Besh is at LSU. So we'll see. Finley doesn't suck. He simply doesn't suck. If he sucked, explain the Arkansas drive. Explain the South Carolina game. And like I said, he had more than 1 week to prepare for both of those wins. Still, for a 3-star true freshman to go out there and win behind the worst offensive line in recent memory, that really shows me something. So suck is too strong of a word. Is he better than Max? I don't think so. Is he better than Miles? I don't think so. But, he doesn't suck, like Eric said. I think, quarterback is just way too complex of a position to say someone sucks. Bruce, thank you for our donation. I was about to do a super chat shout out. Bruce, what would you like to talk about? I know you're super opinionated, Bruce, so Anything you want to talk about, Bruce, the floor is yours. Thank you for your donation. I really appreciate that, man. Brandon, that is a lie. Miles Brennan is not elite. Okay? We got to be real. Remember, we're all LSU fans. Okay? Mac Jones is elite. Kyle Trask is elite. Okay? Miles Brennan is not in that class. He can be. In his 3 games he did play, he was good, but he wasn't elite. Okay? Don't just throw the word elite out there. Okay? You can't just say elite. Because to me, elite is the highest level. Elite is a Devonta Smith type of player. Elite is a Devin White type of player. A player that, if he's not playing, will hurt your team drastically. Well, they're elite college quarterbacks. If you're a Heisman finalist, you're an elite player. Okay? They're not an elite draft prospect. They're not an all-time great quarterback. They're not Joe Burrow, but they're elite college players. Yeah, it's true, Carvis. I could see that. I still think Trask is pretty good. I just think the Joe Burrow comparisons were just dumb. I really do. I because their numbers were as good as Joe Burrow, but this is where actually watching the games matter. Joe Burrow was just a better quarterback.
Nobody can come for this song.
Let's see. Najee, I would still say Devonta's better, but Najee's a monster. TPVN, about time. I invited you earlier today, and you finally show up. You're right, Kane. They're dumb. Oh, Robert, come on. Caleb was never coming. If you're an elite quarterback, you go to Oklahoma. I don't think anyone could compare to Oklahoma's quarterback recruiting right now. You're playing Minecraft? TPVN, give me a better excuse. Say that you were going to the store. Say that you were going to help out at the Salvation Army. But don't say, oh, Carter, I was finishing my Minecraft game and then coming to your live stream. What does that say about me? Trash, OT12, I think it's too early to tell if Miles Brennan is or is not the quarterback. I really do. I really do. You make a good point by you, Bingo 84. You do. You know what, Big Mac? I'm not surprised by anything in recruiting anymore. The big thing I want confirmed, though, with Tristan Leigh is, did he really sign with Clemson? This would drive me up a wall. And I know it's recruiting, and I know it's teenagers, and I hate spending time talking about a tackle's decision that might turn out to be a bust. Because I'm not going to lie, Tristan Leigh still has some work to do. He's not ready to go right now. He's obviously ridiculously athletic, though. He's fleet of foot. He's powerful. He's all those things. But this would make me so mad if Tristan Leigh did sign during the early signing period and still courted LSU and Oklahoma. That would drive me up a wall because he was wasting not necessarily LSU and Oklahoma's time. He was wasting Garrett Nussmeier and Caleb Williams' time and misleading fans on social media. Okay? This is why I always say, go look at my social media accounts. I've never followed a recruit. I have never followed a recruit. Even when they like my stuff. I think I've followed back one recruit on Instagram. Every other kid that I follow, every other college athlete that I follow, I'm personally friends with. Okay. So, for instance, Desmond Jackson, a running back at Oklahoma State, is a personal friend of mine. His older brother was my teammate. His dad's a close friend of mine. I follow him. I'm actually a fan of him. Okay. But this is why you shouldn't follow these guys on Twitter, because, Eric Gilbert sends out a cryptic tweet and it drives you up a wall. Tristan Leigh sends out all this BS. I'm telling you, Shea Dixon reported this, and he's as accurate as it comes. But if Tristan Lee signed in the early period and still courted recruiting from Oklahoma and LSU, number one, that is a major violation against Oklahoma and LSU, because you cannot have personal contact with recruits while they're at another school. So that could get us in a lot of trouble. And number two, that's psychopathic behavior. That is crazy that he would still take calls from coaches if that's actually true. So we'll see.
Being bad.
So, Booger's out there being bad. Was you out there eating boom?
Go ahead, spanking.
Y'all, Booger's up here being bad. I don't wish bad news for him because he's a teenager. But this is why I'm not for giving these recruits all these stars and all this attention. And I understand I'm part of it. I talk about them. But, it's just, it drives me up a wall. Can't wait to see Foreman and Mason together wrecking havoc next year. Yeah, it's interesting, Debbie. But you see, this is part of what drives you up a wall. It's like we're trying to figure out where Tristan Lee's girlfriend is going. And apparently it was important for them to go to the same place. So she's going to UCF, and everyone thought he was going to go to Florida to be near her. And then he ends up in Clemson. And then people are trying to compare the distances from Clemson and Virginia, where he's from, for the third best offensive tackle in the class. The main reason I spent so much time talking about him, it's not so much because of him. It's because of what LSU has failed to do with everyone else. He became more important for me and all of you, not because he's great, as so much as it is with us not getting many great prospects at that position. Music said if it was me, I'd go with my girl. Okay, if you had a boyfriend, who cares? James, watcher from Little Rock. Oh, yeah, James, I forgot to do this. We are an hour and a half into it. Where are you guys watching from tonight? I know market's a little too early to tell. The hardest thing about evaluating whether or not Texas is going to be good is there's so much red tape, and a lot of talented guys have sucked there. Charlie Strong was not good, and he's a super talented coach, and he's not really recovered. Tom Herman, the same thing. He was a super talented guy. Mark's in Missouri. T225. I would hope you would be in BR if you're repping the area code. Katy, Texas. Austin, Texas. TPVN says he's in his house playing Minecraft. Who plays Minecraft? At least say World of Warcraft. Please say Arts and Crafts. At least say FIFA. But Minecraft? You know what's funny? When you said Minecraft, I thought you were initially saying Minesweeper. And I was like, what kind of Dell 1995 desktop computer are you on still playing Minesweeper? Are you going to switch over and play some solitaire? The 337's in the building. Robbins Air Force Base. What up, Eric? Houston. King Ulysses, you haven't commented yet. Ulysses, you were one of our best commenters from the Mile High City, where it's 2 degrees right now. James is in Little Rock, my fellow Arkansas LSU Tiger. I like it. Morgan City. Solitaire's great. I'm telling you. And Mr. Big Boy for Life. Shouting out Solitaire. Mr. Big Boy for Life is 75. Ben, you're in Auburn, Alabama. Auburn is a very underrated campus. Shout out to Alan Green, the athletic director there, my acquaintance. Alan Green's the most impressive person I've ever met in college athletics. And I met him when he was working his way up the ladder. It did not shock me when he became one of the youngest athletic directors ever. But for real, Alan Green is like the smartest, most impressive human being I've ever sat next to for any sporting event. I used to email with him a lot. But he decided to go with Brian Harsin as Auburn's next head coach. I don't know if he made a good decision there. Canes in New York tonight. I like that. Oh, Ben, you're an Auburn fan watching us. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Alan's a sharp dude, man. He's a sharp dude. He was with old. Yeah, later. Yeah, Foreman's going to USC. Yeah, he's just a sharp dude. So, quick story. So, Alan Green's one of the big-time athletic directors in the SEC at Auburn. And he was not a higher up. He was like an assistant to the assistant to the assistant athletic director at Ole Miss. And I sat with him at Alec Box Stadium and spoke to him for 3 hours. And he was telling me how he was going to be an athletic director and all those things. So he then went to become the athletic director at Buffalo. And then he became the athletic director at Auburn. And I think he's like 40-something, which is ridiculous and pretty groundbreaking that a black African-American 40-year-old man got one of the biggest athletic director jobs. It didn't shock me, though. Like, he was like galaxy brain next level. Alfred Blue was a monster. Honest, you want to know a true story about Alfred Blue? Is that he, where's he going, Ben? Where's he going? Marquise Hill, RIP. That was random, but yeah, for real. Marquise Hill was a monster. I would like to reconnect with that one. I really enjoyed that. Dark ZFN is our USC troll. I didn't know we reached relevance to having a USC troll. Alfred Blue's family home burned down. I was in school when that happened. I was really sad. It sucked. Okay, so Alfred Blue story. Okay, I'll stick with this. What's going on? Let's go. Hey, we shoot a video, and we're going to send this to Kirk Herbstreit. Did y'all see this video? So Kirk Herbstreit showed his studio setup in Nashville, and they had all these platinum screens. Did y'all see this? This was crazy. How ESPN set this thing actual. Did you see this video earlier? So Kirk Herbstreit.
What am I doing?
You're shooting a video, just a random video, not like a Snapchat.
I don't have Snapchat though.
But just shoot like a regular, like normal, like video. Andrew, send us a $20 Venmo. Thank you so much, Andrew. I think you're the biggest donation of the night. I think we've gotten a few $20. I appreciate that. But no, it's weird because, and we'll get to the Alfred Blue story in a second. But Kirk Herbstreit did this video showing off his super cool studio. And look at our studio. Look at our studio. We got a little light. And then the kitchen's right there. We're normally in the laundry room. We got Booger over there, Boog the dog, all the way over there. So,
where's she got? Oh, she's ready to go out.
Did you put Booger in the video?
Uh-uh.
We're sending this video to Kirk Herbstreit because our studio is better than Kirk's studio. He had his home studio set up, and he had these 2 panoramic, like, desktop computers. Larry, don't do this. Larry, stop. Larry says, I'm watching while driving my car on the interstate. Larry, stop.
Only do that if he's listening to Harry Styles.
Larry, do not watch this while driving. If you're a truck driver, I trust you. Okay? Because truck drivers can do a lot of different things while they're driving on the interstate. But Larry, do not watch me while driving on the interstate. Jared, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Blake, are you watching while driving on the interstate? How do you super chat? So there's a few things you could do, Jonathan. So if you have Venmo and Andrew, I should have done this a minute ago. Andrew, whatever you want to talk about, it's still your time. You've had our biggest donation of the night, which is our $20 donation on Venmo. We've gotten a few $20 via the super chat. The good thing about Venmo and Cash App is that I get 100% of those, and YouTube takes half of the super chats, which is fine because YouTube is why we're all here right now. But I do have PayPal as well. USC is underachieving, sorry, and cheesy. But no, okay, so Alfred Blue story. All right, so his house burned down, and that sucked. But I asked Alfred Blue this one thing about Alfred Blue. So he played in the NFL a long time as a running back, right? Oh, it's fine, Elias. Do whatever your heart desires. I still, Andrew, you donated $20. It is still your turn. And Jared, it is your turn as well. Whatever you want to talk about, go on ahead. But I'll tell this Alfred Blue story because I didn't tell Kane, who told me that famous alcohol lyric earlier. But it wasn't Alfred Blue who told me that. Mr. Big Boy for Life, that's probably a good piece of advice. But here's the thing, Mr. Big Boy for Life. I would not tell people to drink because we got people like Larry who's watching us while driving on the interstate. King Ulysses, you know what? I like Tykees Crawford a lot. I do think Arkansas is going to get him, though, because he was going there. Now, obviously, he was recruited by the Chad Morris regime, but I think Arkansas makes the most sense. Do you think the return linemen like Ingram make it better today? Yes. Ed Ingram, when he's healthy, when he's locked in, is up there. Like, he's got some Will Blackwell, Lyle Collins type of film, but, you know, can he's got to put it together for 12 games to be like an all SEC level player. Once again, Andrew, I'm still, Andrew, if you're under a different name, let me know because I want to get to your question. And you just said, let's go, which is fine. Let's see. Craig Lawson was a good player. I don't know why people hate on Craig Lawson. He wasn't Jamal Adams, but not every 5-star is going to be. Let's see. Mark, we'll go to your question in a second. Let's go to Jonathan first. Do you think we hear an announcement this week? Are you saying just a random announcement? You'll hear some kind of announcement. We had no idea the Austin Thomas announcement was going to happen last week, but it happened. There's just too many things happening right now at LSU for something non-major to not come out, especially now that there's coordinator positions open at Texas and Alabama, and their pockets are definitely deeper than ours right now at both of those schools. So, yeah, it's going to Carson with the $20 Cash App. I appreciate that. And you, Carson, you just said, what are you doing? I'm obviously live chatting. Carson, whatever you want to talk about, I'll go straight to it. So, Jonathan, I don't know. Are you saying like a coaching announcement? The timetables are always kind of weird because Ed Orgeron might have a verbal commitment from a coach who's currently coaching in a game right now. So, for instance, if Phil Longo agreed to be the offensive coordinator, maybe Ed Orgeron is waiting for the North Carolina game to end, even though North Carolina's offense is struggling, and I bet the under in this game, so that actually makes me pretty happy. Kevin Minter had the best last name for a backer. Kevin Minter is actually a really cool name. You're all right. He was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. He was a monster. Thoughts on... So, Jonathan, I hope I answered your question there. Carson, what would you like to talk about? Oh, okay, that's fine. But anything you want to talk about, Carson, bring it up. Let's go to Mark's questions. Thoughts on Bama versus Ohio State? Both seem to be set up to take advantage of each other's weaknesses. Okay, so I think this is the game that Alabama's really going to miss Landon Dickerson because Ohio State is pretty good up the middle. They're very experienced up the middle. Ohio State's defensive line had their best game of the year against Clemson, albeit Clemson's offensive line wasn't that much better than LSU's this year. I'm dead serious. That's not a good group up front, which makes the Tristan Leigh thing that much more important for them. Ohio State does match up really well with them. Trey Sermon is a really good running back. Is he their best back since Zeke? I don't know. Justin Fields has obviously been the best quarterback Ohio State's probably had in the playoff era. And their receivers are really good. Chris Olave is, fully healthy. Chris Olave's numbers are pretty decent. He's not Devonta Smith, but he's pretty good. And they're pretty good at the skill positions. They both have the same amount of talent. I think, here's what I'll tell you. Last year's Ohio State team would beat this year's Alabama team. Last year's Ohio State's team was really good. I think Ohio State, Clemson, and LSU all had better teams last year than this year. Obviously LSU, but Clemson's roster was better last year than this year. We saw that. Their offensive line, not as good last year as it was this year, vice versa. And Clemson's skill guys weren't as good this year as they were last year because, they lost Higgins and Ross. The biggest problem for Ohio State is that their secondary still sucks. And Devonta Smith going up against Shaun Wade, who's probably the most overrated cornerback I think I've ever heard in my life. I've heard Shaun Wade's name mentioned on NFL draft boards. He was not great last year, and he was not great this year, but for some reason, his name is still on every draft board. Ohio State secondary is not good enough to stick with Devonta Smith. But here's the funny thing is Alabama's skill position guys this year aren't as good as they were last year, okay? John Mechie's an okay player. Slade Bolden is an okay player. Devonta Smith, of course, is an all-time great player. But, they're probably not going to have Jalen Waddle. So Ohio State's weakness is in their back four. I don't think their secondary is all that good. But then again, Alabama's receivers don't scare me. Ironically, they do not scare me. Devonta Smith scares me, but Slade Bolden and John Mechie are just guys. And Billingsley is an okay tight end. He's just now starting to ball out. And Miller Forrestall's okay. Wait, Terry W changed up his... Is that a different Terry W? So I would still lean Alabama. I get a coaching advantage. I get an offensive line advantage. Obviously, the quarterbacks, they're both great. I could argue Mac Jones is better because he's healthier. We don't know what Justin Fields' injuries are. Their wide receivers are even on both sides. Devonta is obviously the best receiver in this game, but the unit overall, I think Ohio State's 2 and 3 wide receiver is better than Alabama's 2 and 3 wide receiver. I think Alabama's tight ends are better than, or I think their tight ends push. Alabama's offensive line is so much better than Ohio State's defensive line. So, yeah, because of that, I would lean towards Alabama. So we'll see. Ooh, Carvis with the hot take. I actually agree with that, Eric. I do. So hopefully that answered your question. Whose super chat was that again? Mark. Hopefully that answered your question. Let's see. And Jonathan, you mentioned announcements. What announcements in particular would you like to talk about? Andrew, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I saw your thing. You just wanted to support. That means the most. You just like watching the stuff. So I appreciate you. So what are we drinking tonight, guys? Some of you are drinking rum. Some of you are drinking beer. Some of you are drinking seltzers like me. I think those go hand in hand, Blake. Okay. All right. So, Jonathan, that's a really good question. And I brought this up a few times on the live streams. Mark, you're drinking chocolate milk at this time of night? What kind of maniac are you? Mark, chocolate milk? That is far more interesting than Eric drinking Ultra, Trey drinking gin and tonic. There you go, Trey. Stash IPA. Music's drinking a sex on the beach. I mean, that is a mixed drink for a live stream. I like that. Robert's drinking Propel. I thought you guys have moved on from Propel. I thought it was Bai. I thought the BAI drink, the thing that Justin Timberlake drinks. T225 is truly high. Okay, that is a true high answer. When I say, hey, guys, what are you drinking? And T225 says, smoking weed. Oh, man. Wait, what's Terry drinking? No, I'm fine. Terry's smoking weed. Jonathan's on that. Mike's hard. Jawan on that hen dog. Still. Oh, man. That's so good. Cat Williams Hennessy bit is, as a stand-up comedian, is perfect.
Chris Rock are on tonight. Did you know that?
Rock's on SNL?
And Meg. You know she's going to do
yada, 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 yada. Oh, this has just become a marijuana live chat. People are talking about strains of weed. I hope I don't get demonetized for talking about something that should.
You don't need to talk about that. You'll get demonetized.
You would for weed?
Yes, you will.
Okay, well, I can't talk about weed anymore, even though it should be legal everywhere. If that's a hot take, I'm sorry. And the last...
You're only demonetized if you're showing the act, but if you're speaking on it, it's fine.
It's fine? Okay, so the only thing I'll say about weed, and we'll get back to LSU football. Personally, my experiences with marijuana is that Terry said that's a true Bama response. Kane says no more bud talk, and Terry says let's talk about cocaine. Okay, this has really become a stand-up comedy green room, and I like that. I'm just kidding. I've seen things in green rooms that I would never talk about again. And King Ulysses in Denver said it's legal here. You know, the one thing I'll say about weed is that, hand on the Bible, I've never smoked anything in my life. I've never hit a blunt. I've held one. I've put one up to my mouth. I've never inhaled or exhaled. I have never Kane, I told you guys that this live chat was going to get wild. Okay. Some people just couldn't take the Tristan Leigh news. Carter, I'm a polygraph examiner. I'm dead serious. I've never done any type of drug in my life. The only drug I've done is alcohol. And LSU football during the Les Miles years. Ha, 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 ha. Go ahead and throw a super chat because that's a good joke. Nobody hits a blunt. Yeah, Trey, I'm a little wimp. Tell that to Josh Gordon. Mr. Big Boy, how did you know that I was a narc? How did I know that I was narking you guys? That's been the whole scheme of Power Hour LSU. Was to draw you guys in. Oh, man. That was my whole thing. Oh, man. That is so... That's so funny. Oh, man. This was my grand scheme the entire time. No, Les Miles was a pretty good coach. I'm just saying, the Les Miles era was funny. It's been fun, Trey. It really has. It's gone off the rails here, but that's fine. Oh, wow. Elias got serious. My godmother has cancer, and the only thing that gets her through is that. That's the thing. If it provides people relief, why wouldn't we do this? It has been fun, Trey, and I know you have kids, and that's hard. But you good fathers and mothers watching this, you are the real MVPs. Terry, that's a decent question. Terry, if you drop a live chat, I will talk about that for the next hour. I would rather smoke weed with Saban than O.
I just figured out you could add videos on TikTok to your favorites.
I mean, really? You really think smoking a bowl would be better with Nick than O? Actually, I would actually probably agree with you. Because Saban would relax. I feel like if you're just chilling with O, you wouldn't need ganja. I think if you're chilling with Saban, that would relax him. I would actually agree with that. No, I'm dead serious, Trey. You dads are like the real MVPs. Cam Cameron for OC and Les Miles for passing game coordinator. That would be awesome. You know what's funny? If you actually hired Jim Leonhard to be your defensive coordinator, that actually wouldn't be a bad option. Do we do any damage by the next signing day? That's a good question, Eric. And it's layered because I think by the next signing day, you need to fill more needs. So right now, LSU's at 20 signees. So Savion Jones is going to be one. I don't think you tell Savion Jones no. He's a good player from Louisiana. And obviously, Chemo, McAnally out of Florida will take up another signee. So you got 3 extra slots. Oh, one of those goes to Eric Martin, the right guard that is currently committed to Auburn. So we are currently at 22 commits. If you get the Harvard transfer, that'll put you at 23. And who's to say that a quarterback or someone else doesn't pop up? So here's the thing. We haven't talked a whole lot about offensive coordinators. So many of you want Marcus Freeman. That is my number one candidate as well. Cincinnati was the best defense yards per play basis, and Cincinnati averaged 71 plays per game. So it wasn't Cincinnati's defense getting the benefit of not having to play a lot of plays. That's why yards per play is such an important metric, because Marcus Freeman wasn't just good on a yards per play basis. He had to be good for a longer period of time. So with Jim Leonhard, he is obviously a really talented guy. He was a really good NFL player. The problem is that when he was at Wisconsin, he was able to coach a defense that didn't have to play as much. His defense wasn't on the field for that much. Eric Wilson, I said Eric Martin, Eric Wilson, Brian Thomas, and the JUCO tackle. Yeah, that'd be a very good class. So many of you want Hugh Freeze as the offensive coordinator. That would be a horrible decision. First thing, Hugh Freeze is a head coach. He wants to be a head coach. Going from Liberty, where they gave him the longest leash ever, they stood up for him more than anyone, and they're actually paying him pretty well. Liberty fits in with this culture. Obviously, a strong religious university, and Hugh Freeze obviously fits that brand. But Hugh Freeze would be coming here as the offensive coordinator, and he is coming to the Cougar capital of the world in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he's not the head coach. That just spells disaster. And I know that sounds like a joke, and I do stand up and make jokes all the time, but that is a legitimate concern. A guy who had trouble in that aspect with the burner phone, we can make all the jokes you want, Hugh Freeze would be a disaster in Baton Rouge. Now, football-wise, he'd be great, but, LSU's got their fair share of off the field, and, at Liberty, you do have to keep up an image. At Baton Rouge, you don't. Who gives a... Well, it's part of it. Oh, Carson, come on. You gave me a good super chat, but that would be the most tone-deaf hire, even though it would be a great hire. What? That's an interesting comment, Kim, about Sadiq Charles, because Chemo, I actually compared Chemo to Sadiq Charles. He's got 6'4", 285. He's a little long. He's got some tackle capability. Mr. Big Boy for life. I mean, that's a pretty visible comment. Rai, keep those super chats coming, baby. Let's go. We got 143 people, but only 104 likes. What's up with that? Since the player number game will go into effect next year, it's true. Is it possible to leave spots for next year? That's a good question, because you can only have 81 people. Marcellus, welcome. The seniors don't count against you, though. They don't. So I think Ed Ingram was a junior, so he still does count against your roster. But seniors do not count against your roster number. So if Racey McMath would have come back, and he still could come back, I think he should go to the NFL. But if Racey McMath decided to come back, he would not count against the roster number. No, but Racey's already signed with an agent, so he's already gone. Plum, what it do? Representing Lake Charles. What it do? Moko, the Australian, with Chemo, Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, I like that, man. I really do. You don't say no to a 4-star receiver in Louisiana like Brian Thomas Jr., right? Von Rosenberg will retire at LSU. I know, Plum. What's up, dude? Miss you, dog. Do you think Mazda, the car, starts our... I'm kidding, you. I know what you're saying. Let's see. I don't know. It's going to be an intense competition. I do think Max is going to win the job simply because the locker room's still behind that dude. Max has a higher ceiling than TJ. I agree with that, James. I don't. So, Plum, that's a good question. I don't believe in the whole root for the SEC type of thing. It's just not my thing. I pull for Arkansas because most of my friends went there, but I hate the Razorbacks because, I'm an LSU guy. I just can't cheer for the other SEC schools. I just can't. Now, I've had friends go on to work and play at other schools, but it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. And it's not just Bama, it's just everyone. I'm just not going to root for Florida. I'm just what way should I root for Florida? James, I've missed you, man. We needed some rust and love. We have lacked North Louisiana perspective. And I know King Ulysses has been holding down Monroe via Denver, but James is here from Houston via Ruston. Carson, he's not retiring. UNC's a good team. UNC's a really good football team. Okay? And like I said, Texas A&M's not that good. They're not that good. UNC had a ton of opt-outs, too, before this game. So, Mac Brown's building a pretty good program over there, and the recruiting's getting better. Can I, they're good. You're right, James. Mac is, say what you want about Mac. He's not the sharpest X's and O's guy, but he's just an all-time great coach. He's just good. Mac is just really, really good at recruiting. And he's just some people are just really freaking good at this, and he's one of them. What's more difficult to improve? Brennan with his mobility or Max with this deep ball accuracy? Ooh, Trey, that's a great question. God, that's a great question. It's one of our better ones tonight. I'll tell you this. I would say Max simply because, it helps having an NFL quarterback who's a dad. Also, here's the thing. I've always shared this. I'm not a former quarterback. When you haven't played quarterback, it's really hard to evaluate the position. But like I mentioned earlier, the thing that concerned me more with Max Johnson, his red zone accuracy versus Ole Miss was really, really, really bad. We left a lot of points on the field because he missed some throws that were easy throws, and he threw a red zone interception. In his defense, TJ Finley threw a lot of pick sixes and bad picks and bad fumbles, and Max didn't have as many backbreaking turnovers as TJ Finley. But the Ole Miss game was a step back for him. He was still really good. He threw for more yards than he did against Florida, but that had more to do with Kayshawn being a way better receiver than Ole Miss's secondary. So, that's not me being critical about Max, though, because he was still really good. In his 2 wins, the weather had 180-degree turns in the middle of the game. So that makes what he did that much more impressive. But there's still a lot of improvement there. And that's my point, Jonathan. That's why I don't want to be overly critical in the red zone because, like you said, Joe Burrow wasn't a great red zone quarterback in 2018. So that's not, once again, that's not me criticizing Max. That's just me stating what I've seen. And apparently Max has a really good work ethic. Helps having a dad that played in the NFL. He has a great relationship with Russ Callaway, I've been told. So we'll see. You know what, Carvis? I agree and disagree with that. I do. We don't need a 5-star offensive lineman. We just need to scheme better. The second part is more true than the first. They do need better offensive linemen. Austin Deculus is serviceable, but we could do better. Chase and Hines, we could definitely do better. Okay? They're both great servants to LSU. They both could get better with another year, but there are better players out there. So we'll see. King Ulysses, it's there. It's there. It's wide open. That position is wide open. LSU, think about all the great running backs that have played here. Okay? Think about all the great running backs. Jeremy Hill, Leonard Fournette. Go back to freaking Charles Alexander. This is a running backs university. Okay? Jacob Hester, Darius Geis, anyone you want to mention, Clyde. 3.3 yards per carry. That should never be seen at LSU. And I hope I never see it again. That's a disgrace to Charles Scott, Keelan Williams. Okay? A lot of it had to do with bad blocking, but we didn't make a lot of guys miss, did we? We didn't push the piles forward, didn't we? You guys watch the games. You don't need me to tell you that. You know what, James? I didn't see it. Honestly, I did not see the TJ Finley tweet. And thanks for your super chat. I didn't. I was so heavily prepped trying to figure out if Tristan Leigh really did sign. If you're just joining us, the one thing that drove me crazy, was Tristan Leigh signing in the early period and still courting other schools after that. So I was so focused on trying to confirm that story from Shea because obviously whatever Shea reports is pretty dead on. But that is the reason why I wanted to see if someone else was reporting that is because that is a pretty freaking crazy story. So I spent the last hour trying to figure that out. But what did TJ Finley's mom tweet out? What did TJ Finley's mom actually tweet out? And don't link it because I can't see a link in here. Oh, Allie Broussard was a beast. What's up, Maddie Dukes? What did Kane say? Oh, Eric Gilbert's not a tool. I wouldn't call him a tool. Eric Gilbert can do whatever he wants. Michael Ford was a beast. So his mom tweeted about Justin Fields balling out last night and the fact that he wasn't able to put on for his home state school. Oh, interesting. So it was kind of a cryptic tweet. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Matt. They have, and that's huge news. But Alan, that's expected from a true freshman pocket quarterback that should have never played this year. Music, I tend to agree with you, but I don't know if Max has that level of escapability. Burrow and Manziel were all-time great playmakers in that aspect. I don't know if Max has that ceiling of playmaking ability. I just don't. I think he has a high ceiling of playmaking ability, but, Manziel and Burrow were, really freaking good at that. But you're right. Max does have those traits. Cody, I disagree with that. Transferring ain't going to make you any better. Yeah, it makes you a lot better. JT Daniels was horrible at USC. He was, what, the third best quarterback in the SEC when he actually played? Yeah. The bottom line about the TJ and the Max thing. Max was better than TJ. Max was all things considered, Max was considerably better than TJ. TJ threw more pick sixes. In TJ's 2 wins, he had more time to prepare than his opposition, which is a huge benefit. You normally don't have that at LSU. TJ had back-breaking turnovers against Auburn. TJ was not great against Alabama, but who was? Okay. Max was really good. He won both of his starts. During the middle of the game, the weather changed during both of his starts. He still was pretty consistent throughout the course of the game. But Florida's defense, as we all know, isn't that great. Ole Miss's defense was worse in the SEC. When you actually break down the Ole Miss film, Max missed more throws than probably you or I initially thought. So TJ isn't as bad as you might think, and Max wasn't as great as you may think. So I think it's somewhere in between there. But I would agree that Max in his starts showed that he is a better quarterback right now than TJ Finley. I would agree with that. But I do not agree that TJ Finley is trash. I do not agree that TJ Finley can't be an SEC starter. That's not true. It might be better for him to transfer. Look, if TJ Finley goes to, a good fit for him, if he does decide to go somewhere, is Mississippi State. TJ is definitely capable of running that offense. So we'll see.
You want your other one, baby? Babe, you want your other
Yeah, sure. A&M's O-line's not playing well. Like I said, A&M's not that great of a team. They're not. They benefited from a lot of different things. Their skill guys aren't any good. I'm telling you. If you look throughout the SEC, in the SEC West, and this is what really impressed me about Jimbo Fisher's team this year, Texas A&M had the worst set of skill guys in the SEC West. Okay, Arkansas has better skill guys. Mississippi State has better skill guys. Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, they all have better skills guys. A&M skill guys can't get open. They're just not that good. I'm not watching the game because I'm focused on this. Yeah, Carson, you're thinking way too far ahead. You want to know my honest opinion? And this is what I said last year. I honestly think LSU should have made a play for JT Daniels. I really do. And, that's not a shot at Miles Brennan. I think Ed Orgeron made a huge mistake with this roster this year because obviously Peter Parrish had issues off the field and he had to go. Okay. I did not like, whenever you're putting together a team, you got to ask yourself rational questions. And in football nowadays, the most important person on your roster is your quarterback. Your second most important person on your roster, unless you have a Devonta Smith or someone that is ridiculously so good, like a Jamar Chase or that level of a player. The second most important person on your roster is your backup quarterback, okay? Your starter is very important. Your backup quarterback is so important. And Ed Orgeron going into this year, and I understand the Peter Parrish thing happened, but going into this year, the LSU staff, and I don't know if they made a push. I might be wrong. Maybe LSU made a push for JT Daniels and he decided to go to Georgia anyway. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. Never do I want to see LSU go into a season where the backup quarterback is a true freshman. The second most important person on your team. And not only was your backup quarterback a true freshman, your starter is legit a pine needle. Miles Brennan, who's not taken a real hit in 5 years, who had a high injury rate, had a very likely chance of getting injured with this body frame behind a new offensive line. You knew all of this going into this year, and our backups were true freshman quarterbacks. I always say this. I don't think true freshman quarterbacks should ever play. I think learning a system is so important and watching from the sidelines and taking a step back from that position. And the same thing holds true since the Les Miles era. This has been over a decade now. LSU has not had a quarterback that they recruited turn out to be half decent outside of Miles Brennan, which was only for 3 games. Think about that. Okay? That is a large sample. Okay? Our best quarterbacks since the Les Miles era have all been transfers. Obviously outside of Flynn and Russell. But after that, it's all been transfers. Etling, Mettenberger, Burrow. So why didn't we have what? You know, it's one of those things. I agree. Kellen Mond actually took a step back. You know what's funny? I think Lowell Narcisse would have been a good LSU quarterback. I really do. I've always liked Lowell Narcisse, and he turned out to be a good quarterback. He saw the writing on the wall with Joe Burrow. You're right about that, Tony. But it's just not smart. That's $1 million question, Mr. Mickey. But in Ed Orgeron's defense, it's easier said than done, and it was clear Miles Brennan was going to be the starter. It's hard to just get a true freshman quarterback. But Eric is like the big Garrett Nussmeier fan. I like that. It's a good question, Brandon. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. But is he any good, Antonio? If he was good enough, would he be playing? It's a good question, Tony. Corey Raymond's got one of the best jobs in America. I mean, he's probably making near $1 million to be a position coach. I mean, I could live with that. And he's already mastered his craft. Oh, the Paraloo thing. We talked about it on the live stream a while ago. My Twitter's being blown up by a Joe Moorhead tweet I had earlier. You want to chat about Joe Moorhead? Let me know. If y'all want to chat offensive coordinators, drop a super chat right now because I'll give you my offensive coordinator hot list. Y'all see apparently Phil Longo is calling up a dime of a game with he's missing his best skill position guys. Maybe Ed Orgeron's waiting for Phil Longo, who's already making $900K a year. Okay. Carvis speaking some gospel here. That's true.
Do you want these with your food? Some carrots? With your gumbo?
I'll just do gumbo. That's fine.
It's not that much.
Oh, it's not that much? KB didn't hook me up with some. My mom didn't give me a whole lot of gumbo. My mom didn't give me enough gumbo. My mom gave my dad all the gumbo. And I've been talking about this at the end of my videos. Only my diehards know about the end. Trey was talking about this earlier, how much he likes hearing what I'm going to eat for dinner. So my mom did not put enough gumbo. She made me a little plate of gumbo to go, or like a little container.
Do you eat cabbage?
No, I'm good on the cabbage. So do I. I don't believe in that good luck stuff.
Well, I ate one bite of it, but it's got bacon in it, so I won't eat it. I just ate one little bite yesterday for good luck. No bacon. It's fine.
I'm not a cabbage guy. James drink.
We are a kosher household.
We're kosher. No, but Eric, you see, I'm getting some gumbo, but my portion wasn't where I wanted it to be. Now, I'm still getting some gumbo, so I should be thankful. My mom makes a mean gumbo, and I got some last night, but I thought I was going to get like some real gumbo. Why is cabbage good for manhood? What? What does cabbage have to do with manhood? Does Chuck Norris eat cabbage on New Year's Day? Does the brawny man eat? Does Mr. T eat cabbage? Oh, man, that's so good. All this smoke from God. All right, let's go to James's super chat. I'm glad you mentioned that. 2021 opener at UCLA is going to be interesting. So does UCLA get their quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson back? If so, that's interesting. You know, UCLA football, the only thing that pisses me off about UCLA football is that they took Kenny Young from us in 2014. Why did LSU decide to go after Clifton Garrett instead of Kenny Young, who was right there in New Orleans, whose tape was absolutely ridiculous? I had just gotten my job at Bleacher Report, and they're like, hey, you got to do some recruiting stuff. And as many of you know, recruiting's not my favorite thing. So I was like, okay, let me go look at the 5 stars, because we had that. And that wasn't the 2014 class. Was that the 2015 class or the 2013? I don't remember. But anyway, Kenny Young was a monster. I was like, whoa, this dude's from New Orleans, and we're not going to get him. Clifton Garrett's a 5-star. Let me go look at some old Clifton Garrett. And I was like, what? So, James, to answer your question, I don't know a whole lot about UCLA. It is interesting that you got to go all the way to California. And, you know, we're talking about a game next year, and we don't even have our coaching staff put together yet. I mean, there's a lot for Ed Orgeron and Scott Woodward to do. For Scott Woodward's case, though, he did get Jimbo Fisher. And as much as you may hate Jimbo Fisher, he's pretty good. You know, this A&M roster's not good, and you almost got him in the playoff. They're struggling against a North Carolina team that doesn't even recruit close to your level. Well, they did last year, but overall they don't. So, James, hopefully that answers your question. I am concerned about going all the way to California. UCLA is a decent school. So there you go. And let's go to Brandon Atkins. Jeff Grimes is offensive coordinator. So let's see what you guys and I get that, James, but Kenny Young was so clearly better. He was so good, and he was in New Orleans. That's you get our own blood first, then going to Illinois. I didn't even know Illinois plays high school football. Kenny Young's still in the NFL. I think it was Carvis who was like equally pissed off as me about the Kenny Young thing. Well, that's not for sure, Mr. Mickey. I think what would happen to keep Marcus Freeman in Cincinnati, Luke Fickell would say, look, if you want me to stay around, you got to hire my dude, Marcus Freeman. He had 20 tackles versus Leonard Fournette. The dude was Kenny Young was a monster. I remember when they were saying he was going to go to A&M, and that would have drove me crazy. At least he went to UCLA. But that's my most vivid UCLA story. Oh, they're best friends by you. Best friends. Their wives sit by each other every game. I mean, they're best friends. Carvis, I know you're a Kenny Young guy. I was a Kenny Young, one of my favorite Louisiana high school football players I've seen. That dude was just a monster. Matt, that's a good way to look at it. I am very anti-Bo Pelini. I really thought it was a disaster. And the main thing, this was my main problem. You're getting out-schemed. We gave up too many easy touchdowns. We have the athletes to where we shouldn't be giving up easy touchdowns ever. If we get beat, all the power to you. The one thing about a Dave Aranda defense is that they didn't give up a bunch of easy crap. Okay? You know, if they beat us deep. At least we are contesting that deep ball. No Kevin Steele. Kevin Steele tried to stage a coup to get the Auburn head coaching job. I don't know if Kevin Steele tried to sabotage Gus Malzahn on purpose. I don't know. Auburn's a weird university. Let's see. Pelini was so bad at making adjustments. I just don't. And here's the thing. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just saying that because I was the one person that was screaming about this Bo Pelini thing from the get-go. And I tried my best. I did some videos. And my one positive Pelini video before the season, I actually turned out to be wrong. I said if Pelini would get a decent pass rush, his defense could work. Well, here's the thing. He did get a decent pass rush for a lot of games, and the defense still sucked. Okay? In 8 of our 10 games, we gave up 7 yards per play. Once again, in 8 of our 10 games, we gave up 7 yards per play. Since 2009, there have only been 5 SEC schools total that have given up 7 yards per play. So we were historically bad with good recruits. Shouldn't ever happen. It shouldn't ever happen. Yeah, that's true, James. Explosive plays down the field. Even against South Carolina, where everyone was telling me, well, the defense improved. We still gave up 7 plays of 20 yards or more. 7 plays against Arkansas, which was a good defensive performance. Felipe Franks was 5 for 5, throwing the football 20-plus yards down the field. In other words, every time Arkansas chunked the football deep, they completed it. Why they stopped doing that, I don't know. Thankfully, they did. It helped us win the game. So that's the thing. The 600 yards games were embarrassing, Jared, but the more embarrassing number is the 7 yards per play. That is awful. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm so glad Felipe passed on LSU. You're right about that. And that's partially true too, Garvis. I don't like to say a player was just flat out bad, but he did not take a step forward. There were some players. Okay, so, and I brought this up about the Florida game. Cordell Flott got ejected. LSU got better. And then Chasen Hines got hurt. LSU got better. Now, that's not me speaking ill of them. That's just me speaking truth. I'm still shocked that Ed Orgeron didn't rotate more guys in. And I think part of the reason why he didn't do that, because LSU had some players that should not have played as many snaps as they did, especially when you have guys like Devonta Lee, Josh White, guys that people have told me look good in practice. There's no reason for them to not play somewhere. The reason why Ed Orgeron potentially doesn't do that is because he doesn't want guys to transfer if they lose their starting job. And LSU had huge roster issues this year. So we'll see. You're right. And there was a super chat earlier, I think from Elias, who said, who is the most important player for LSU next year? And I would say probably Elias Ricks. Number 2, I would say Kayshon Boutte. And number 3, I would say is B.J. Ojulari. But regarding the LSU offensive coordinator search, Joe Moorhead is a sexy name. There's a lot of people that have mentioned Joe Moorhead, and I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not. Ole Miss. Oregon was second in the Pac-12 this year in yards per play, but they regressed. They started figuring Joe Moorhead out. Against USC, even though they won the game, they only had 243 yards of total offense. And for the first time since 2011, Oregon was 0 for on third down. They were 0 for 6 tonight. A lot of you complained about LSU's third down efficiency, especially the Missouri game where we were 0 for 10. What was Scott Linehan paid to do? Fix the third downs? And he didn't. Or, coach third downs, coach red zone. This year, Joe Moorhead was okay. I understand. Oregon lost their all-time best quarterback. And I get it. Oregon had to obviously deal with quarterbacks that weren't as good. This was first year. Joe Moorhead had to move from Mississippi to Oregon in the middle of a pandemic. So, to average the second most yards per play is one thing. But, I also don't like Mario Cristobal as an in-game coach. That kind of hamstrings you as a play caller as well. I'm still not on fire about Joe Moorhead. Look, to get him to Baton Rouge, you'd have to get him at least $1.5 million. Is he $1.5 million good? I don't think so. Phil Longo is $1.5 million good. You see what Phil Longo's doing tonight? I don't have the game on right now. I might turn it on in a second. Phil Longo is missing all his playmakers, okay? And he is still out scheming Texas A&M's really good defense that didn't have opt-outs. Phil Longo is worth the money. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Are you ready for me to warm your gumbo up, or are you going to be longer?
You want to hang out a little bit longer? If I get another... What's up, Yusha? Yusha, welcome, man. Scarves on the way from New York. That's cool, man. Greetings. Everyone say hi to Yusha from Ukraine. Mark, about time I saw you. What's up, dude?
You got to stay on now.
Yusha's on. Everyone welcome Yusha. He's been with me since day one, the pre-1,000 sub days. Yusha is sending me a LSU and a Lazio scarf.
My little shop up in here. Uh-oh. I got it. Oh, God. Sorry, folks.
Oh, you're not doing anything.
Can I move that to get the chair?
Yeah, move it. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yusha with the super chat. There we go. Yeah, we'll hang out a little bit longer. Well, I'll keep going if the super chats and Venmos and all that stuff keeps going. Steve-O the Gringo. We got our second Lake Charles viewer in here. What's up, man? Steve-O the Gringo, I forgot where you said you were originally from, but I know you're in Lake Charles. Oh, James, no one cares about your fantasy team, but you did super chat me, so I do care about your fantasy team. Oh, that's a good question, Antonio. Who do you think will have a breakout season next year? Okay, that's a good question. Let's see. So breakout, that means a returning starter. So returning starter, breakout season. You know what? I still think Mo Hampton could play at this level. I do. I'm gonna go with Josh White. I like Josh White a lot. I like them better than Sampa. I think they're both really talented dudes. Some of you guys think Philip Webb could be that guy. So, let's see. Okay, Carson sent another $10, so we'll hang out a little bit longer. Let's see. Oh, James, I hate that. $800? That's the difference between first and second place? Is $500? What kind of big baller league are you in? Oh, you should. That's a good one. Ali Gay. So, we did this video earlier this week on Ali Gay, and a lot of you are big Ali Gay fans. Crazy backstory. Cody Worsham did a great job telling his story, and I like Ali Gay a lot too. The problem is also a good thing. His main problem is also a good thing. So after the Mississippi State game, Ali Gay started showing up on draft boards. Okay. So if he continued to play half as good as he did against Mississippi State, he probably wouldn't be coming back. But that's the good thing, is that he wasn't as good as he was in the Mississippi State game, where he was legit. That was one of the best defensive end performances I've ever seen. And we still gave up 623 yards, which shows you how bad Bo Pelini is as a defensive coordinator. But Ali Gay has one of the highest ceilings on this team. He's long. He's obviously really smart, very athletic, hard worker, crazy backstory. A few things happened, though. They started picking on him in the run game. He would lose contain. Sometimes I thought he didn't know what his actual role was against the run, which is kind of weird. So I think a new defensive line coach would help him out a lot. So that's a good pick. I think Ali Gay could, he's got a super high ceiling. Now, I don't know if he has a BJ Ojolari ceiling, but we'll see. That's a good front. Ali Gay, Jaquelin Roy, Neil Farrell, BJ. That's a good front. So let's see. We had Ali Gay. Let's see, another breakout player for next season. That was a good pick, Yusha. Coy Moore is a good choice as well. But Coy started getting really good at the end of the year. Steve said, I hate Alabama. That's a way. Yusha, I do think it's a 2-year project. Even though next year might be better since Bama's going to be losing so many key guys. Bama loses Alex Leatherwood. They lose Dickerson. They lose the Heisman winner, Devonta Smith. They lose their quarterback. They lose their running back. They lose Dylan Moses. They lose Bearmore. They lose Surtain. So next year might be the best opportunity. And, we've proven that we can go into Tuscaloosa. In fact, I think we've played Saban better in Tuscaloosa than we played him in Baton Rouge. So we'll see. Heck, Ole Miss is going to be good next year. They return a lot of guys. They return their quarterback. Now that Sark isn't there, they probably return the best play caller. That's a good question, Mark. Let's see. What incoming freshman will get playing time? Obviously, the Mason Smith's going to play a lot next year. I would be shocked if he didn't. Sage Ryan is another guy that'll play a lot on defense. But I don't know. I don't know which one of the wide receivers really stands out the most. Obviously, if you go based on their high school production, Jack Besh is on a different level than all of them. As far as high school production is concerned, Deion Smith dealt with an injury this year. It's going to be interesting to see how that foot. He should be fine. Brian Thomas Jr. commits. I mean, he's a beast. He's just good. Matthew Langlois. I don't think he's a year one guy, though. I think he's good. I don't think he's year one good. One thing about Langlois, I like Langlois a lot. I like Korey G a lot, too, and I hate that he's not coming to LSU. Am I in North Louisiana? No, but I like North Louisiana a lot. I think North Louisiana gets a bad rap. I think Shreveport's a good city. Shreveport has casinos. Ruston's a good city. Ruston's got great food, great daiquiris. My favorite Louisiana restaurant is actually in Ruston. And I am a huge Monroe fan. I like Monroe a lot, too. Marcellus. Where are you from, Marcellus, again? Let's see. Sam from West Monroe checking in. Yeah, I am an Arkansan. What about Armani Goodwin or Corey Kiner? For breakout candidates, that's going to be tough. Ulysses brought up a really profound point earlier. Not only is the SEC West wide open, that running back room is wide open. Remember this. Lots of gangs and crime in Shreveport. Lots of gang and crime. Insert any major city. Baton Rouge, are you kidding me? And I love Baton Rouge. It's one of my favorite cities on the planet. Let's see. Chalmations, where we at, baby? Okay, so not for breakout playing time. I don't know which one of those two are better. Corey Kiner's been Kev Falk's guy from day one. Obviously everyone talks about the 7-touchdown game. I watched the film on that. That was legit the worst high school team I've ever seen playing. And I know that's taken away from a 7-touchdown game, but still, that was the worst high school football team I've ever seen playing. I am dead serious. I think I was faster than the free safety playing in that game. But still, Corey Connor's a monster. He really is. He just, the Clyde comparisons are there. They wear the same jersey number. They're the same short, stumpy, jump cutty type of running back. So we'll see. South Baton Rouge. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you're right about that, James. So, Mark, it's hard to say which one's actually better. It really is. Yeah, I do too, Brandon. I really do. But once again, I think none of you guys was super chatted about the offensive coordinator. I thought somebody was going to super chat an offensive coordinator conversation. In case you guys didn't know, I go where the super chats go because, I got rent to pay. I know, Mr. Big Boy, but you've never seen me run though, baby. You've never seen me run. The Parish. Jared, are you from East St. John? The Parish? I had a roommate from the Parish. Do I have a toupee? I don't think I have a toupee. My girlfriend cut my hair this week, though. 5'9", 40. I think I could do better than a 5'9" right now. Chewy, you said that 2 weeks ago, and it's time to pay rent. I'm kidding. Damian Mama? Wait, what's UNC doing? Is UNC balling out? I actually put some cheddar on UNC. Ugh. So I put some cheddar on UNC, and I also put some cheddar on the under. I think the under closed at 65.5, and they are at 46. So that's going to be a sweat. Are they kicking the extra point right now? So that's going to put them at 27. I know, Kane. And Boosie is so problematic. But dear Lord, is he not the most talented dude to ever come out of Baton Rouge? I mean, he's ridiculous. I'm telling you. If LSU was to go north of $1 million for one offensive coordinator, my list, and you guys watch my offensive coordinator piece. The link is down below in the description. So if you're tired of looking at me and you want to just talk about the offensive coordinators, I did a whole 30-minute video on the LSU offensive coordinator search. My list is as followed. Jeff Grimes is the clear-cut number one. And James has a good question about Jorge Munoz. We'll get to him in a moment. But my clear-cut number one is Jeff Grimes. I think Jeff Grimes, especially considering what LSU's weaknesses are now, Jeff Grimes knows the region. But I think Jeff Grimes would be a really good fit with Ed Orgeron, a guy that he's already got a good relationship with. But Phil Longo is the most talented play caller in college football who's not at a top 15 job right now. So obviously, you would wish you could get a Steve Sarkisian or a Tony Elliott or someone like that. But those guys, Sark took a head coaching job. I think Tony Elliott is probably going to get a head coaching job next year. So, Longo is my number two candidate. I did a video and earlier this week, and I think Phil Longo would be a great fit. $199. Juwan, I take anything. Someone Venmo'd me 25 cents the other day. I'll take it, baby. A chip and a chair for you poker fans. Yusha, I can't stand watching Bama. They're so good. I hate watching Bama live because they are so good. I'd rather just watch their tape. Oh, Kevin Gates is nowhere close to Boosie. I mean, get out of here with that slander. And I know Kevin Gates is a BR guy too, but come on. I know, James. James, you never joined the chat, though. James, you always join about like an hour in. And I got some gumbo ready for me. And my girlfriend's eating dinner without me. We were supposed to have a romantic candlelit dinner, but I hung out with you guys. Because I'm kidding. I got Max in trouble. Max dropped a $20 super chat earlier. I got Max in trouble because he's been hanging out with us more than his girlfriend. He always tells his girlfriend, hey, we got a live chat Tuesdays and Saturdays. Let's go. James, I'm kidding. I couldn't name one Kevin Gates song. I'm not much of a music listener. I'm a boring podcast listener. Is NBA YoungBoy really that good, though? Why would you not want to go see Boosie? Would it be too ratchet? Club Cocopelli's? What is Cocopelli's? That sounds... my favorite so I've been listening to a lot of sports card podcasts. So like Heroes for Sale, that dude's a friend of mine, Ryan, cool dude. But yeah, that's like boring stuff. I don't know many sportscasts. Yeah, I'm finishing Floodlines from the Atlantic. It was really good on Katrina. I like listening to history podcasts like that. And obviously that's a sad thing. Why would I bring that up? Because it is a really good, they really put in the work on it. And, I was very hesitant to listen to it at first, but it was really, really freaking good. And not quite finished with it. I thought it was really good. I listen to a lot of things that make me think. Revisionist history is something I listen to. Let's see. You know, if I really want to laugh, I go look at clips from Joe Budden's podcast. I just like Joe Budden's facial expressions are so freaking great. Club Dream? Malik Neighbors is going to be a beast? Oh, The Chi? I've heard The Chi is good. I never watched Atlanta with Donald Glover. That's the number one thing people tell me to watch. But I don't watch many TV series. I really don't. The one TV series I fell in love with, they canceled after the first season, and that was Rel with Lil Rel Howery and Sinbad. Sinbad dealing with some health issues. I hope he's okay. He's a big reason why I'm doing. I started stand up. I haven't done stand up in months. Kendall Briles. Okay. No. Even though I like his offense at Arkansas. Oh, Rel is so good. Rel is so good. Yeah, Joe Budden. Any clip with Joe Budden, and it always makes me laugh. He's a rapper. I don't know any Joe Budden songs, though. Okay. So there we go. Well, all right, guys. If I get another, I'm coming up on 3 hours. If I get another super chat or Venmo or Cash App, I will happily hang out for a little while longer. Oh God, this total bet is coming up to the wire here. I know. Apparently they're on the. Let's see. You guys, my girlfriend's eating alone. She took a sacrifice for you. Throw down a super chat. All right, Yusha, for the girlfriend. I appreciate that. Yusha's coming in big for us. Do what?
Are you off?
I'm almost off.
No.
They told me that Yusha dropped a super chat just for you, baby.
Thank you.
She said, thanks, Yusha. Oh, really? Well, James, I appreciate your super chats, man. And email me, man. My email is powerhourlsu@gmail.com. Hit me up. I hope they hold him to a field goal here. That would be really good for my total. Because we do not need overtime. You guys are my Saturday. My girlfriend told me, hey, you could chat as long as you're getting super chats for Bernie. Oh, don't let him run that in. He's walking in. Dang it! God! Now that's going to get to 54, and the line was at 65.5, and they're easily going to. I've lost I'm telling you, I've lost my last 10 college football bets. Dude, I've got to quit. I've lost my last 10, and I don't bet a whole lot. Like I bet like $5 a game, and I cannot hit one. Okay, it was 10-6 in the second quarter. Okay, I cannot hit one. I cannot hit one. I am done. I'm so done. I cannot hit one. And I don't bet the game. So my favorite play of the bowl season. And I was on ESPN radio. I was filling in doing some ESPN radio work. My favorite play of the year was the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors to beat Houston outright. And they were 7.5-point underdogs. And I said, take them outright. And I got so many messages from people that actually did that and made a ton of money. And I didn't even play it. And then I said my second favorite bet was Ole Miss against the number. Ole Miss won the game. They were 9.5-point underdogs. Okay. But when I actually play a game, I'm never close. I'm never close. Is Mo Funky in here? About time. I never win them. I never do. I never do. I never do. Okay? I never do. It's one of those things. When I actually play the action, it never actually hits. That I did it before the chat. I said it before this chat began. I said, go, Alan, if you go watch the replay when I actually hang up this live stream, I said before this chat, everyone go bet the Texas A&M and UNC over. Go do it. They're at 54 right now, and they're scoring at will. It's like the freaking and here's the thing. The bet looks good at first, and then out of nowhere, freaking Torrey Holt and the greatest show on turf starts to happen. Freaking Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk shows up for Texas A&M. I mean, that's me. That is my luck. And I'm in an NFL Pick'em league with a bunch of people, and I won the whole thing last year. I was winning this league by 5 wins. And this past week, I got 2 games correctly. 2 out of the 16 or however many they're played. And someone else got 8, and now they're beating me. I'm telling you, I've had the coldest luck in recent weeks. And I've not won one single college football bet that I've actually played, even though I've gone on the radio and the producer was screwing with me. I was getting furious that he was like, hey, you never actually played the games. I know, Alan, just do the opposite. Do the opposite of what you actually think is going to hit. I thought the under was going to play because North Carolina didn't have any of their weapons. And guess what? It still could play. But they're going to score 14 points. This game is going to go into overtime, and they're going to score 1,000. And I haven't been able to watch the Pelicans at all this year, and they're my favorite professional franchise. Go freaking Pels. That's when I do. When I get 100,000 subscribers, I'm renting out a luxury box, and I'm inviting all of you guys. But we got to get to 100,000 subscribers first. We got to get to 3,000. We got to get to 3,000. Trey, you lost the internet? What, Trey, where are you watching from? How did you? My girlfriend has to know because, Trey, you're one of her favorite people because you're like the bug super chatter. Trey, what happened to your internet? Are you watching from Montana? 10K by 2022? Trey, are you kidding me? We better be there before that. Oh, how did he drop that? Here's something that pisses me off. If you wear a single-digit number and you drop passes, stop it. Look, this dude, if you're watching the game, if you wear a single-digit number, you got to catch this. Okay, don't waste a single digit if you're not going to make plays. Number 1 should change his jersey number to number 27, okay? If you wear a single-digit number, you got to make primetime plays. Eric says 3K subs. Carter sends us tuna steaks. Well, you know I'm down for some tuna steaks. But Trey, what? Oh, you're in Washington State? Well, that makes sense. You're up there with the Hewards. Yeah, you got to wear number 37. If you're a single-digit number and you drop a ball, you deserve to have your scholarship ripped. Don't take up a good jersey number. Okay, here's number 1 right here. With the bubble screen and he only gains a yard. And he gets tackled by a dude wearing number 32. Turn your jersey in. If you get tackled by a dude wearing number 32, you don't deserve to wear number 1. Don't wear single-digit numbers if you don't make plays. Put number 49 on. Don't drop passes. I mean, this is a big game for North Carolina. I know, Kane. Trey wants to slow play this. We better get to 10K. Come on, I got to move up to Denver with Ulysses. Ulysses already said I can move in. I'm bringing Bug and everybody. Or we'll go to Robbins Air Force Base with Eric. We'll go fishing. 99. I would like a receiver to wear 90. Actually, number 99 is a legal receiver's number. I don't think you have to report if you wear number 99. I saw my cousin played college football at a smaller school, and he wore jersey number 1. Dude, I would message him every week. I was like, you better have 15 tackles a game. If you don't have 15 tackles a game, change your jersey number. Like, imagine how cool Devin White would have looked if he would have had like a number 7.
I wish we knew what size Gary would wear in this shirt.
Let's go, good defense. Let's go. Let's keep this under 51. And if you're a defensive lineman and you're wearing an arm brace, go full JJ Watt. That's good. Every line. Don't y'all feel uncomfortable when you see linemen out there with? There was a Clemson starting offensive lineman who wore no gloves, no wrist tape, no nothing. You can't go bare arms out there. This is 2021. And there's a Clemson offensive lineman that thought it was a good idea to go bare arms. I think Mon goes undrafted, to be honest. You know, on the phone with Delaney, Ruth. The good news about for Kellen Mond is that this is a weak senior class. But if I had to choose for an NFL quarterback, I would rather Felipe Franks than Kellen Mond. I really would. I'm not a big Kellen Mond guy. Mond getting drafted in the 98th round. This ain't the MLB draft, Kane. Why are there 60,000 rounds in the MLB? All those guys can't actually play in the minor league. Mond, the rookie tight end. Once again, I'll keep going if we get a super chat. That blitz pickup was insane. Did y'all see that? You see, this is a problem with Texas A&M. They don't have guys that could separate. Y'all like me commentating on games? I used to do this. There was an app where I would be like a play-by-play commentator with the actual game. That blitz pickup was insane, though. You see, if you're Brian Thomas Jr., be honest, and you see Texas A&M skill guys, Brian Thomas Jr. is probably better than every receiver Texas A&M has. Let's see if we can get this under, baby.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Carter?
No. I was talking to myself. You remind me of Pat Summerall. I think I'm the anti-Pat Summerall. Pat Summerall was like, my favorite thing about Pat Summerall was like he was just consistent, monotone, which is like what we don't want from play-by-play commentators. A lot of you want energy from play-by-play commentators. I like energy. I'm not supposed to like a Pat Summerall, but Pat was beast. And what made Pat Summerall so great is that because John Madden was so cartoonish, it balanced out the broadcast. So, okay. Let's see. What's up, Ruth? That's a good question, Brandon. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing about Texas. The Big 12 doesn't recruit at any high clip. TCU doesn't recruit that well. Baylor, what is Aranda going to do there? Probably not a whole lot. So we'll see. But if y'all want me to stay, I'm starving like a Jerry curl on top of a walrus right now. That's how hungry I am. I'm so hungry I don't make sense. King Ulysses, I don't know. I mean, I think most Texas A&M fans would tell you Ryan Tannehill is Kellen Mond's backup guy. That's how long Kellen Mond has been there. Kyle I've been tweeting Kyle all day. Go watch my videos. Come to the live stream. And Kyle waits until 3 hours and 11 minutes to want to chat LSU football. Really, Kyle? No wonder why you're named after the worst field in the SEC West. Those that are actually getting the relevance of that right now, shout out to you. Reggie, what's up, dude? Let's see. Marcus Freeman. But Marcus Freeman and Jeff Grimes is very unlikely because that would be my dream team. But that's probably not going to happen. I know, Kyle. You hit me up on Twitter. But if y'all want, I will stay. We still got 86 people. My girlfriend always said never leave if there's less than 50. Now there's 89. I don't know Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby sounds like the rush chair at Kappa Sig fraternity at Ole Miss. I'm kidding. I know Jeff Lebby's the OC. Is he the OC at Ole Miss? Well, the problem is I don't know if Jeff Lebby would want to leave there, and how much of the play calling is actually him. I don't know. That was Buddy Johnson making the tackle. Buddy Johnson is like watered down Devin White. He's not that good, but he was a 3-star recruit, and he will get drafted. Buddy Johnson's a monster, and he ate us alive. All right, Carvis, we'll see you, man. But all right, guys, we're going to round this thing on up. Thank you guys so much. If you feel the need, if you enjoyed this, please share the channel with someone you think that would. Once again, what number is this guy wearing? A single-digit jersey number drops another pass. Don't wear that jersey. Don't wear a single-digit jersey number if you don't want to make plays. This drives me nuts. I'm roughing the quarterback anyway. But I'm sorry. I will live stream until midnight if I keep seeing that. Don't wear a single R.I.P. Doom. I don't know any of Doom's songs, but I know everyone was talking about that on Twitter. I just like hip-hop dudes that are like unique and with the mask and the freestyles. I like underground freestylers. Mickey Fax is the best freestyler I've ever heard. Go look him up if you're into hip-hop. Mickey Fax is so great. I was a Zero fan. Another guy I liked a lot is his name's Ray Wimley. He's out of New Orleans. He's got a huge TikTok following. He's an actual freestyler. Common came to New Orleans and freestyled with him on the side of the street. Ray Wimley is a great freestyler. But I didn't listen to Doom. I did not.
Let's look at my email and see if we got an email. Update, third class.
That's the thing. The best rappers are the ones you haven't heard of. And Doom was that guy. I was listening to some of his interviews. He said some very interesting things.
Everybody's got it but me. Carter, I don't have my stimulus yet.
You don't have your stimmy? Who all got the $600?
You did, player.
I got my stimmy. Okay, and I appreciate you, man. Man, ain't no thing. I'd rather you just watch, bro. Yeah, Kane, you don't miss for real, man. I'd like to meet you one day, for real. I know I was like cheesy, but I gotta go listen to some of Doom. That's crazy though that they were showing like some of his photos with Tupac. That's so crazy. That gave me kind of chills to see him without his mask on with Tupac. Oh God, North Carolina, we need you to score. We do not need overtime. Kane, thanks for your Cash App, man. I appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Enjoy the rest of this game, folks. We got a classic here. Please pray for my under. We're at 54 right now. And the total's at 65. I should have just bet North Carolina against the number. Don't catch that home invasion. What? What does that mean? I know my under's done. Oh, they're faking. Oh, I thought they were faking. Go Tigers. We'll talk to you soon, okay, people?